think it's about waiting and being ready for the right opportunity and judging each opportunity on its merit and seeing if it suits and it's something that you can go into and do a good job.
That's Gary Monk, who's live on the television tonight for the replay. Our commentary, by the way, is on the red button as well. Ian Dennis's commentary. Ian, he is amongst the front runners for that vacant job at Oakwell now.
Yeah, I think Barnsley will probably be just taking stock of the situation, because they released a very interesting statement today where they expressed their disappointment that Paul Heckingbottom had just moved up the M1 from Oakwell to Ellen Road. They say in the statement they were shocked at Paul Heckingbottom's desire to leave, having agreed a new contract with Barnsley last week following the completion of the January transfer window, where the board of window, and they were hoping, of course, that he would stay and help them, lead them away from the relegation zone, that the battle that they're currently facing. The thing is with Paul Heckingbottom, he emerged from a shortlist of 3 for Leeds United. I think by Monday morning they'd identified that he was their preferred target. The contract was offered to him yesterday evening. He took training this morning at Thorpe Arch, and then it was announced around lunchtime. So Paul Heckingbottom has signed an 18-month contract at Ellen Road, and of course if he can turn it around, there's every chance that Leeds United could be back in the playoff picture.
OK, Ian, back with you in a couple of moments' time. We can see the players in the tunnel at the Liberty. No goals at Birmingham or Rochdale. The other fixtures tonight: Bury, Wimbledon in League 1. In League 2, Accrington, Stanley, Swindon. And in Scotland, Motherwell, St Johnstone, Partick against Rangers, and they're playing at Falkirk and Wraith Rovers as well. And here's Joe Critcher with the news.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
A man's been jailed for at least 26 years for murdering his ex-girlfriend by stabbing her 75 times in her car. 23-year-old Molly McLaren died in a frenzied attack at the Dockside shopping centre in Kent last year. 2 people have died after a strong earthquake in Taiwan. Officials say more than 100 others are injured after buildings collapsed in Hualien. Former senior figures in the construction and outsourcing giant Carillion have apologised to MPs investigating the company's collapse last month. The former chair, Philip Green, said the demise was ultimately his responsibility. And the world's most powerful rocket is expected to be launched into space from Florida. It's been produced by the company SpaceX, run by the entrepreneur Elon Musk, and will carry a mock cargo, an old sports car.
5 Live Breakfast.
The UK has been ranked the 10th most congested country in the world.
Somebody's just tweeted to me to say you're not in the traffic, you are the traffic, because you're part of it.
Yeah, of course. No, it's not. It's everyone else around me that's wrong. What are they doing here?
Even if you think you know where you're going, it's always worth having a sat-nav on.
We've lost the ability to read maps.
I'm not good on maps. I can't.
You're not good on driving.
No.
Let's face it.
Give me a list.
The A406, by the way, is the most congested road in Britain, which is Chiswick and the Hanger Lane. We'll try and keep you company if you're sitting there, not moving anywhere very fast.
With our jolliness.
Guaranteed jolly. That should be our tagline.
Yes.
5 Live Breakfast.
Chelsea under-21 semi-final, which is 0-0. There's FA Trophy action too, so lots of different scores which will keep you across, but no goals of significance just at the moment. As we joined Chris Sutton and Ian Dennis, who I hear his feet heaters aren't working particularly well.
Tell you what, you can fall out with your colleagues. Yeah, well, let's just hope that the action warms us up tonight, Mark. Because there's not many people inside the Liberty Stadium, I'll tell you that. If we've got a crowd that hits over 10,000, I think we'll be doing well, because the end away to our right is empty. They've clearly not opened that stand behind the goal to our right. There's the Swansea City supporters on the far side, and I would say around 500 have travelled down from Nottingham today, and they're to our left-hand side, and they occupy that end to our left. The 2 teams are out, Swansea City in the all-white, and Notts County in their change strips, the luminous outfit of the League 2 side. So the 2 teams. Christopher Nordfeldt is in goal. A back 4 for Swansea of Connor Roberts, Mike van der Horn and Kyle Bartley, with Kyle Norton playing as the left back. Tom Carroll and Sam Clucas will sit in the centre of midfield. and then it's Routledge, Dyer and Narsing, and we'll wait to see what combination of those three attacking players behind Tammy Abraham, the England international. We heard earlier from Kevin Nolan. He was saying that they're going to set up similar to how they beat Brentford in round 3. So they've made 3 changes, with Hewitt, who's ill. So Matty Virtue, who was suspended for the initial tie at Meadow Lane, comes into the midfield. Dickinson replaces Jones at left back, and Hawkridge for Amiobi. Adam Collin is in goal. A back 4 of Nicky Hunt, Sean Brisley, Richard Duffy, who's a Swansea lad, and Carl Dickinson at left back. Noor Hussein and Matty Virtue in the centre of midfield. Terry Hawkridge and Lewis Alessandro provide the width, and George Grant, the leading goal scorer, in behind John Stead. George Grant on loan from Nottingham Forest, 17 goals. He played out wide in the first game at Meadow Lane, but this system, Chris Sutton, might actually suit him better to be more central and closer to John Stead.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how both sides set up, and whether, Notts County are worried about Swansea in that central area where I think they may match up. But Mark Crossley has got a bit of FA Cup history, talking this week, saying this is a free hit. They have nothing to lose, and that's hard to argue with.
Do you fancy them?
I think they've got a chance. Swansea have made a lot of changes, a lot of fringe players, good players, but Notts County under Kevin Nolan have been transformed. A year ago they had every chance of going out of the Football League, and now they're sitting pretty in League Two looking for promotion, and they have real momentum.
Well, the financial incentives, as we heard the owner of Notts County, Alan Hardy, speaking to Mark ahead of kick-off, saying that victory tonight would be worth £750,000. I mean, that for a League Two side would transform Notts County. Yeah,
absolutely, and a lot of sides languishing in League Two are struggling for cash, and the FA Cup is big for League Two sides, it's big for League One sides, so a run in the competition. We saw what it did for Lincoln City not so long back, and Notts County are going to try and emulate them.
The voice of Chris Sutton. We also have VAR tonight as well. Enough said. Martin Atkinson is the referee. Neil Swarbrick is the VAR official in the studio in Stockley Park. Hymns and Arias is the anthem that reverberates around the Liberty Stadium on a cold night here in South Wales. BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also on the red button as well. The match is underway with Notts County playing from left to right as we look in the luminous outfit, and Swansea are in the all white, and the ball straight away is played downfield by Notts County. That's headed away by Clucas, met by Nicky Hunt, the former Bolton Wanderers right back, tucked in, and then it was picked up, and bringing the ball forward was Kyle Norton, who switched to left back in the absence of Olsen. Played with 3 at the back against Leicester at the weekend. Flat back 4 tonight. Here is Dyer taking the ball into his feet. Nice turn, looking towards Abraham. Routledge to Abraham in the penalty area, gets the shot away, and it's blocked, and it goes behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, it looks like Routledge has just set up in behind Tammy Abraham. Half a chance, that. Good layoff from Routledge. Abraham not 16-18 yards out, but that's blocked and goes behind. A chance for Swansea to get the centre-halves forward and get good delivery into the box.
Just over 60 seconds, corner kick to Swansea City. It's an in-swinger, and the goalkeeper Adam Collin will gather that one in. When they played 10, 11 days ago at Meadow Lane, it was his first appearance since mid-October. He had been back in training, but he'd been out, missed about 19 games with a knee injury, and I'm sure that he'll be much better now, because since then they played Crewe at the weekend. Good victory against Crewe. Well, good crowd as was too, as Notts County now come forward, and it's with Hawkridge. Ball played back. Dickinson tries to get round the back on that far side, the left, cleared away by Swansea City, picked up by Hussein in the centre of midfield. Scored his first goal for the club, signing by Crystal Palace just a few weeks ago in the January window. The 20-year-old midfielder, his first goal in league football was actually against Notts County for Accrington Stanley. The ball played out now towards Grant on this right-hand side. Grant, the leading goal scorer. Connor Roberts tried to press, then drops back because Virtue has gone in behind him to take Roberts back into that area. It was played up towards Virtue on loan from Liverpool. Huson's first touch let him down, tackled by Clucas. Swansea City now with Dyer on the edge of the centre circle coming forward. Clucas has continued his run on this near side, the left. He's unmarked, time to play in a low cross, blocked by Nicky Hunt. The right back was back in position, throw into Swansea.
Yeah, he did well, Clucas, breaking from his own half. Swansea, only one player in the box as that cross was going in.
From the throw on the left-hand side, Roberts back with Clucas. Here is Bartley. Bartley on the halfway line, and Van der Horn. Notts County will be quite happy just to drop off. John Stead is the lone striker. Bartley then to Clucas. Roberts is pushed up on this near side, so in fact it's Roberts playing as the left back and Norton as the right back. But it goes out of play for a throw. Well, of course, there's two other FA Cup fourth round replays, Birmingham City and Huddersfield. This is on 5 Live Sports Extra, but keeping us up to date is Alistair Bruce-Ball.
23 minutes played. It's Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0. Michael Morrison, the Birmingham skipper, has just gone close with a header from a corner that drifted wide. Abdulhamid Sabiri, probably the best chance of the half, pounced on a loose clearance from David Stockdale and then shot wastefully wide. Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0.
That's on 5 Live Sports Extra. Nathan Dyer has just seized on a ball that was given away. He tried to weave his way through to the edge of the penalty area. In the end, it was a right-footed shot that was quite tame, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it's a poor pass from Huson, and that was cut out. And Dyer on the front foot, good shift, but then a really weak shot. And Kevin Nolan just getting off his bench into the technical area. I think he wants his side to be a little bit more direct early on, get the ball into Stead and get knockdowns off him.
Bury lead Wimbledon by a goal to nil at Gigg Lane in League One. Rochdale against Millwall. This is an FA Cup fourth round replay. Vicky Sparks at Spotland.
0-0. Rochdale maybe 33 places below Millwall, but they're looking the brighter of the two at the moment, although Anya Dinma has gone close for the championship side on this very heavy sandy pitch. Rochdale 0, Millwall 0.
There were 7:45 kickoffs. This was a 8 kickoff, so we're only now in the 5th minute as Bartley comes forward. Roberts on the stretch on this near side, the left. George Grant was there. It goes out of play for a throw that Roberts wants to take very quickly. Goes back to Clucas. Last week, of course, his 2 goals against Arsenal, taking his tally to 3 for the club, and all 3 goals have been scored against Arsenal as Dyer. Carroll. Norton on that far side, Narsing on the right touchline. Dyer is in field. It's a short pass back towards Narsing, the former PSV Eindhoven player. Routledge looking to turn. Dyer's made the run in behind, right side of the penalty area. Dyer with a cross aimed towards Abraham, headed behind by Duffy for a corner kick to Swansea City.
Yeah, it's a good ball from Routledge. Dyer just running, getting in behind the Notts County defence to the byline. Well defended from Notts County.
So Carroll has gone across to take this. He played as a left wing back in the game against Meadow Lane, but he's back in his more natural, accustomed position in the centre of midfield. It's going to be Carroll with the corner kick over on that far side. It's an in-swinger, only partially cleared. And Swansea City with Norton back towards Dyer. Now Roberts just outside the centre circle in the Notts County half, spreading play out towards Carroll. Early ball towards Narsing. Narsing dancing around the ball, then comes forward on that right hand side. Doesn't beat the first man, blocked and hooked away by Hawkridge. Given away though by Notts County, that loose ball collected by Clucas. BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also on the red button on your BBC TV. You might well be listening to us on the BBC Sport app as well, as Carroll feeds it out towards the right. Narsing with the cross, and that's easily dealt with by Colin at the near post. You'd expect better delivery?
Yeah, it's poor delivery. You can just see the way that Notts County have set up the previous game. Amiobi instead up top. They're trying to flood the midfield, not letting Swansea, well, they're trying to not let Swansea get any space in there and any rhythm to their passing game.
Another latest score for you in the Football League. Accrington Stanley are leading Swindon Town by 1-0. Billy Key has scored from the penalty spot at the Wham Stadium. 7 minutes played here at the Liberty Stadium in South Wales as Bartley guides his header out to the left back Connor Roberts. Roberts though comes under pressure from Grant. Those luminous shirts are quite high up the pitch. Alessandro is there as well. Bartley's forced to turn, feeds the ball out towards Routledge. Abraham knocks it back to Klukas, but that was a heavy touch from the left foot of Klukas and goes through towards the goalkeeper Colin. Just about staying in the game, isn't it, for Notts County?
Well, I think that's the way it panned out in the first game, where Swansea started well, should have been a couple of goals up, but then Notts County, I think they gained real belief in the second half and felt that Swansea were beatable, but staying in the game at the moment.
Alessandra, right side of the penalty area. Behind him is Grant, takes it on towards the byline. Cross takes a deflection. Took a little bit of the pace off the ball. Roberts will deal with that. And then it's just nicked away from Nicky Hunt by Routledge as he approaches the halfway line. Forward ball towards Dyer, who actually let it run underneath his foot. I think he thought that Abraham was a little bit closer to him, but Abraham had gone in the opposite direction, and it goes through towards goalkeeper Adam Collin.
Just a bit of miscommunication there, not on the same wavelength. A lot of these players playing together, I suspect for the first time this season. A lot of changes Carlos Carvalho has made.
There was Virtue headed away by Roberts. Stretching into the challenge was George Grant on loan from Nottingham Forest, but very calmly Swansea City will play the ball back to the edge of their area, and then Bartley out towards Norton on that right hand side. Forward to Narsing, he got the opening goal in that 1-1 draw at Meadow Lane. Short diagonal ball to Dyer. Swansea City have done well since Carvalho took charge. Only the one loss in 9 games since his appointment. They've picked up 11 points out of 18 in the Premier League, and certainly had the desired effect since his appointment for Paul Clement. But he's made 7 changes for this FA Cup 4th round replay, and of course the winners will be away to Sheffield Wednesday. He would have a return to Hillsborough, which I'm sure he might quite relish. Chance to go back there after being sacked on Christmas Eve. Bury 1, Wimbledon 1 is a latest score at Gig Lane. Ball up towards Grant, runs off the foot of Bartley.
There's been some transformation, hasn't it, under Carlos Carvalho. I have to say, I'll admit, I thought Swansea were down, and he's come in and made such an impact in such a small space of time, and they've beaten some really good sides. You can see their confidence, their tails are up. A lot of changes tonight. I think he's come out and said they are focusing on Premier League survival.
Here's Abraham, edge of the area. Abraham gets the shot away right-footed, straight at the goalkeeper. In his programme notes, he says, when I arrived, we were struggling to breathe. Then we got some oxygen with the win against Watford, and now we have a little more. So we are not almost dead anymore. And in fact, they're certainly not. They are alive and kicking. And in fact, last week, albeit only for 24 hours, they were out of the relegation zone for the first time since November, and now they of course are out of the bottom 3 after the weekend set of matches. So he's certainly had the desired impact after that managerial change. But as Chris Sutton has already talked about, this time last year when Kevin Nolan was appointed, they were in dire straits with Notts County, facing a winding up petition, relegation from the Football League. And this is the oldest fully professional club in the world, formed 156 years ago. And for Kevin Nolan to turn that around and now to be pushing for promotion really is a great credit to him, as a cross comes in from the right hand side by Swansea City and drifts out of play. And I would imagine that Kevin Nolan, 11 minutes into this game, will be relatively satisfied.
Yeah, I think so. As I said earlier, it's about staying in the game, and when they get the chance, Notts County, it's about taking it. I think Swansea have been sloppy in the final third. That final pass, that final ball, I think Carlos Carvalho will be looking for big performances from his fringe players, so then he can trust them in the Premier League.
Well, especially with the body blow that they had at the weekend, with both Leroy Fer and Wilfred Bonney out for the season. Fer with a a ruptured Achilles tendon, and Boney out with a tear to his anterior cruciate ligament. So devastating blows for both players, and we wish them well in their recovery. Let's go back to St Andrews, Birmingham City, Huddersfield Town. Alistair Bruce Ball.
13 minutes remaining in the first half, still 0-0. The winners of this one get a home tie against Manchester United. The game's yet to really get going. Huddersfield look the better team with the ball on the deck. Good threat down the flanks with Tom Ince and Colin Quana. No chances since you were last here. Good crowd in as well, actually. Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0.
Strong run by Norton on the right hand side. Grant is forced to come back into his penalty area to try and clear it away. Roberts though wins the ball back for Swansea. Routledge infield. Carroll, is he going to shoot? No, he plays a short diagonal ball. Carroll tees it up, and then the shot then comes in from Dyer, but Colin was well positioned to make the save just away down to his left hand side.
Yeah, it's better link up, wasn't it? Ball going into Abraham, first time layoff and a snapshot. Decent power on the shot, but Colin got down well.
We've been to St Andrews, back to Spotland. Vicky.
Goalless between League One Rochdale and Championship Millwall. Rochdale still holding their own, but this heavy pitch, half of which is really sandy due to the problems Rochdale have had with it, is cutting up, and it's affecting the flow of the game. Both sides struggling to create chances, although to their credit they are trying to play along the ground. Rochdale 0, Millwall 0.
Sometimes on the 5 Live Sport Twitter feed they have FA Cup bingo, and I think that's what would go down as what's called as a leveller, a pitch like that at Spotland. As for this tie, a little bit like the feet warmers, we're still waiting really for it to get going, aren't we? Wish the feet warmers would kick in.
Well, I think for Notts County, the longer it goes level, they'll begin to fancy this more and more.
It's 0-0. Remember, we were underway at 8:05. We've only been playing for 14 minutes, and Ali Bruce Ball says there's a good crowd in at St Andrews. Of course, the incentive there is a home tie against Manchester United, but certainly not a good crowd in here at the Liberty Stadium. I think they'll probably, the steward I was talking to before, I was saying about 7,500. He said he'd do well to hit that. So we'll wait and see. But Swansea
they saw
City
the weather forecast, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Bartley at the back. Did have snow first thing this morning, didn't they, here in South Wales? As Ali was saying, they've had snow in Birmingham as well this evening. Here is Roberts on the left-hand side. Infield, Routledge looking for the ball to settle. Spreads play out towards Narsing on that far side, the right. Dyer's in field if he wants him. Here is the diminutive player. And Clucas. Carroll, centre position, midway through the Notts County half, in all white, playing from right to left as we look. Along the ground towards Roberts. Roberts with a right-footed cross. That's cleared away by Duffy. Started out at Swansea City, also had a loan spell. He'd moved out to Portsmouth at one time as well, but a local lad, so I'm sure he's...
Swansea supporter.
Yes, boyhood fan. I'm sure he's got plenty of family here in this small crowd at the Liberty Stadium. And I'm sure he'll want to do well. It's always special, isn't it, when you go back to one of your former clubs. Bartley, Carroll. Carroll forces Bartley back. And Bartley goes all the way back towards Nordveld, the Swedish international goalkeeper who's played in all 6 cup games this season for Swansea City. So I think that was always going to be one of the changes that Carvalhal was going to make with Fabianski rested. They've got Burnley at home on Saturday, which is a very important game in the Premier League. I'm sure their priority would be Premier League survival, but you think that a couple of the big guns have gone out of the FA Cup. They've got Sheffield Wednesday away in the next round, and eyeing a good cup run can sometimes work hand in tandem, can't it?
Yes, it can, and I think that Swansea won't want to lose momentum tonight. You know, they'll want to win this comfortably, and have that tie against Sheffield Wednesday. You know, let's get it right. It'd be embarrassing going out to a League Two club and may knock Swansea back.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Carvalhal said at the head of the first game it wouldn't be the end of the world, but you're right, in terms of momentum it would be a jolt to the system. And
he would have a serious doubt over his fringe players, wouldn't he? The players, you know, he's made changes tonight. He wants to see a performance.
0-0. Here is Dyer on the ball on the right-hand side. Dyer, short ball to Routledge. Then he goes back to Norton. He plays it forward. Notts County have everybody back bar Stead as the ball is spread out towards Roberts, and leaping in the air comes off his head and glances out of play for a Notts County throw on this near side. Nicky Hunt's in no real hurry to take it. This suits the League Two side.
I don't think he's time wasting just yet, but Kevin Nolan just walking to the edge of his technical area, applauding his team, their setup, their shape. They're saying, we're going to make this difficult for you, Swansea. You want to play. We're nice and compact and tight.
Because of his frame, Nicky Hunt, he sometimes can be quite languid, but he's certainly laid back with the way that he wanted to take that throw in there as Swansea City win the ball back. Here is Abraham, here is Carroll. Klukas plays it forward, comes off the right foot of Nicky Hunt, goes back in the penalty area, headed away by Dickinson. Not too sure where that header was from Narsing. It went straight to a Notts County player. Swansea City have won it back though. They are seeing the better of possession in these opening 17-18 minutes, 0-0. Narsing round the back right hand side, he enters the penalty area, plays it in towards Abraham, and Abraham with a close range finish, and Swansea City lead by 1-0, and Tammy Abraham's goal drought is over. It's his first goal since October, and Swansea City opening the scoring 1-0.
Yeah, you have to say it's really well worked down that right hand side. Narsing, good little give and go it was, a 1-2, and then he gets to the byline, and then it's all about the quality of the cross. Abraham, good movement, gets across that near post, across Duffy, and gets a good enough contact. Nice finish, important for Abraham, big game for him tonight. I think his season has gone to plan, good for his confidence, and now Notts County have to react.
And when you talk about his confidence, Chris, I mean, his last goal was against Huddersfield in October. He's gone 14 games without a goal. As a former striker yourself, I know it's against League Two opposition, but what does that do for your confidence, just to finally get that goal after such a long run without one?
That's absolutely crucial. I feel for him this season. It's been a tough season. I don't think he's really got any rhythm into his game, and he's been playing for a struggling side for most of the season. But he started the game well, got his goal.
Abraham to Dyer. Dyer looks to come on in and finishes. 2 goals in the space of 60 seconds. And Swansea City now have a cushion. Abraham turns provider, and Dyer with his finish. And it's his first Swansea City goal since August 2015.
Tell you what, they've linked up really well, Abraham and Dyer. Just in these opening 15 or so minutes, it's a good run from Dyer. In behind the Notts County defence, and a perfectly weighted pass from Tammy Abraham, and that allows Dyer just to get his head up. Colin comes out. It's all about the composed finish, finds the corner of the net. Could be a long night for County.
Could be a long night for us. Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. The other game is Motherwell against St Johnstone, as Dickinson comes forward. In many ways, when you concede the first goal for the League Two side, the game plan might not necessarily change, because you can still stay in the game and then try and chase it in the last 15-20 minutes. To lose a second goal so quickly after going 1-0 down, a body blow for Kevin Nolan.
No, absolutely, and a long way back, and it's perfect for Swansea. The ideal start to the evening, stroking the ball around at will now.
Ball given away by Duffy, Routledge. They came here into South Wales. I think they were quite confident, Notts County, of maybe trying to cause an upset, but that might well have been dispelled with those 2 rapid-fire goals from Swansea City, who now lead 2-0.
Well, what is important now, Notts County do not concede a third. Just stay in it. Abraham just gives away a free kick, backing in. When they get the chance, they've got to try and take it, but if it goes to 3, it's game over.
The only thing I would say is that John Stead was part of the Bradford City side who was at Stamford Bridge, 2-0 down at Chelsea, and Stead just before half-time got a goal, and Bradford City went on to probably record one of the great FA Cup shocks under Phil Parkinson, to go on and win that game by 4-2. So Stead, I'm sure, with his experience, and he's got a very good record of scoring in every round so far. He got the equaliser at Meadow Lane. That might well be going through his mind. But they're going to have to rely on the experience of players such as Stead, as Duffy might just have picked up a knock there. He's just feeling his I think it's his thigh and his
the high
right
foot
leg.
from Dyer. Both players eyes on the ball. Dyer catching him on the thigh, but Duffy looks okay.
He won't want to come off, as we've already mentioned, because this game will mean so much to him for Richard Duffy, the central defender. And another one of those old heads at the back for Notts County at 32 years of age, as Bartley's all over Stead, giving away a free kick. And hardly done anything in open play. Let's see what they can try and create with this set piece.
Yeah, and this is where you think Notts County may stand their best opportunity of a threat. Set pieces. See, sort of 30 yards out, long way out to shoot. Centre halves have gone forward.
Well, Dickinson's one of the players standing over it. The other one is George Grant. Dickinson then with his left foot. And as happened on several times at Meadow Lane, you've got two players currently in an offside position when this free kick is taken. That's Duffy and Alessandra. It was a ploy that Kevin Nolan would have seen Sam Allardyce use in his Bolton Wanderers days. They'll quickly look to come back on side, make the run back just to try and cause a bit of confusion. There they start to wander back now. Dickinson plays it in, punched away by the goalkeeper, not very effectively, knocked back in by Hussein, and cleared away by Klukas.
What on earth is Nordfeldt doing there? Just catch the ball.
Back up towards Duffy, in towards, might fall to Virtue, cleared away on the half volley inside the penalty area by Klukas. Caused so many problems for himself by punching it, didn't he?
Yeah, there was talk of the Karius one the other day. I mean, he had time. It wasn't whipped in at great pace. Had time, saw it all the way. Just come and catch it.
Alessandra's ball is straight towards Van der Horn, and it remains Swansea City leading by 2-0. We'll check in on the other two ties. Rochdale Millwall maybe to come, but first to St Andrews. Alistair Bruce ball.
Into the last minute of the first half. Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0. Birmingham with a chance here to put some late pressure on. Long throw about to come into the penalty area. A couple of moments ago, Scott Malone rather wastefully shooting into the side netting for Huddersfield when he had a couple of teammates he could have picked out in the middle. Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0. Winners at home to Manchester United.
Bury 2, Wimbledon 1 is a latest score in League One from Gig Lane. Commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra for that one. Rochdale against Millwall. The winners will be at home to Newport against Tottenham. Vicky Sparks.
Still 0-0. Rochdale's top scorer Ian Henderson has had a penalty appeal waved away at the other end. Williams has headed over for Millwall. Rochdale 0, Millwall 0.
Tottenham against Newport is our commentary tomorrow from Wembley. And Saturday we'll have news of the North London derby, commentary of Everton against Crystal Palace, and of course the Six Nations again, England against Wales, the big one from Twickenham. But here at the Liberty Stadium, 25 minutes played, and Swansea City very, very comfortable, leading by 2-0. The Premier League side with 54 places between the two, and at the moment it's clearly showing that goal.
They're a class apart, and I think the goals have just really settled Swansea down. And Carlos Carvalho will be encouraged about the link-up. Dyer and Abraham, they've looked particularly sharp. Here is
Roberts, the left back, being closed down by the Notts County midfield. Given away Carroll there. Duffy now will stride forward over the halfway line. Stead's just peeled away from Van der Horn. Played towards Alessandra instead. Virtue goes back. Here is Hussein. Alessandra out to Hawkridge, part of that Lincoln City side that reached the quarter-finals last year. Lincoln City might well be having an opportunity to go to Wembley in the Checkatrade Trophy tonight, up against Chelsea's under-21s, and I'm sure a lot of football supporters are hoping that the Cowley brothers can do just that. Maybe even the Football League officials are hoping that Lincoln City can go through as well. Because in terms of
what do you mean?
Well, Chelsea are hardly going to. How many would they take to Wembley Stadium to support Chelsea's under-21s?
Fair point.
You think last year you had Coventry and Oxford, went there in the thousands to Wembley Stadium. I'm sure Lincoln would take a good support to Wembley. Chelsea's under-21s. Don't think they've got such a great following, do you?
I'm with you. See just Hawkridge and Grant swap sides. Grant has been Notts County's best player this season. He's had little joy down this right-hand side.
27 minutes played. Colin's going to come forward to take this free kick. It's just short of the halfway line. So the Notts County keeper is his side, a 2-0 down. Shell shock with the 2 goals in the space of just over 60 seconds, I think it was. Colin then to take it, goes long, drops on the edge of the penalty area, headed away by Bartley. Virtue on loan from Liverpool out towards Hawkridge. Virtue continues his run, should keep the ball in play, does exactly that, and it'll win a throw right down by the corner flag. There's been no other goals to tell you about. Still goalless between Motherwell and St Johnstone in Scotland, but Rangers are 1-0 up at half-time at Partick Thistle, and they're now half-time in one of the other FA Cup replays. It's at St Andrews. Alistair Bruceport.
Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0, playing tonight for the right to meet Manchester United in the 5th round. Best chance of the half fell to Sabiri of Huddersfield. Poor clearance from David Stockdale, landed at his feet, and he shot rather wastefully wide. And in terms of the half-decent turnout here tonight, Ian, I think some of that has to do with the Birmingham fans knowing by turning out tonight that will put them higher on the list to get tickets for the Manchester United game if Birmingham go through. Birmingham 0, Huddersfield 0.
Yeah, it'll be a 5:30 kickoff on that Saturday, as already selected for television. Huddersfield Town, who were beaten after a very tame effort at Old Trafford at the weekend, will hope that they could maybe get a result as they did at the John Smith Stadium back in October in the Premier League against Manchester United. Rochdale against Millwall's now at the break 2 at Spotland. Vicky Sparks.
Half-time, 0-0. League One hosts the Brighter against their championship opponents. Rafferty missed a glorious chance inside the opening minute, unmarked at the far post to put Rochdale ahead. Henderson's had a penalty appeal turned down as well. Anya Dinma's gone closest for Millwall, who've made 6 changes and they're struggling to find their rhythm. Not helped by the pitch, which is really cutting up now. Worked really hard to get this game on in the first place, but it's not in a good state. The right-hand side very sandy. Both sides trying to make the best of it. Half-time, Rochdale 0, Millwall 0.
The other half-times in the Football League: Bury 2, Wimbledon 1, Accrington Stanley 1, Swindon 0. As Swansea City on the attack, cut back towards Dyer. Super finish by Nathan Dyer. Hit it first time, right-footed on the edge of the penalty area, finds the bottom left-hand corner. And he had to wait for his first goal since August 2015, and now he's scored 2 in the space of about 10 minutes, and that will seal Swansea City's place in the next round. They lead 3-0.
Yeah, and I don't know how many passes they actually made before that, from one end of the field to the other, and that link-up between Abraham and Dyer has popped out wide. Ball played back, probably 20 yards out, level with the near post. And I tell you what, it's some finish. Hits it first time, whips it across Colin, who is unsighted. He wouldn't have got anywhere near it had he seen it. Tremendous finish.
So Nathan Dyer, the League Cup winner with Swansea City back in 2013, takes his tally to 2. And it was a super strike. And it is a long, long way back now for Notts County. The half-times in Scotland, by the way: Motherwell 0, St Johnstone 0, Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 1. And there'll certainly be no extra time tonight on this cold evening, Chris Sutton.
It doesn't look that way. The perfect start for Swansea, but they're a team revitalised under the new manager. Just wonder, had this fixture come a couple of months back, this was a struggling Swansea. It's a new Swansea now. And it's stroking the ball around. Notts County are just a little bit reluctant. They tried to press Swansea higher up the pitch. Swansea just picking them off.
Here is Routledge. Routledge turns, brings the ball under control, plays the ball out towards the right-hand side. Roberts has joined Abraham in the penalty area. Narsing looking towards Abraham. Headed away by Notts County, stabbed back by Routledge towards Narsing. All Swansea City leading 3-0, running on his toes into the penalty area and winning a corner kick. Martin Atkinson and Swansea City. They're not easing off at the moment. The Premier League side, 54 places higher than the League Two promotion chasing side, managed by Kevin Nolan, and looking for further goals in this first half. Notice as well that they've got a couple of youngsters on the bench as in comes the corner kick, and Van der Horn with a free header puts it over the crossbar. That could easily have been 4.
Well, I don't know who the defender is. I think it may be Duffy, or is it Brisley, where he's suggesting Van der Horn through his elbow. He does raise his forearm and he has a free header. He should score. Van der Horn sees it all the way. It's a poor header over the bar. Just wonder, does raise his arm and shrug Duffy off. Maybe fortunate to get away with that.
Interesting that Martin Atkinson is just putting his hand to his ear at the moment. Neil Swarbrick is the referee. Maybe just having a little look at that once again, I would imagine, with VAR, just to make sure that there was no violent conduct from Van der Horn. Didn't seem to be anything, did it?
Well, I think as Duffy was picking up, he does raise his arm towards Duffy, gets a free header, should have scored. Just seeing it again on the monitor there, I think he's just trying to fend Duffy away.
Play restarts, no action taken, and Swansea City leading by 3-0 with 12 minutes to go to half-time.
It would be a pretty stupid thing to do in that situation. I think he's just trying to shrug Duffy away.
The other thing is for Van der Horn now, just no need to get involved in any nonsense like that, because a suspension could be so costly for their Premier League campaign.
Yeah, and they're short on numbers as it is, Swansea.
Well, that was it. The two names I was just talking about before the corner kick, Adnan Maric and Daniel James. And of course, if you got a handsome lead, it does bring the opportunity maybe for them to come into the fray as Narsingh into the penalty area, aimed towards Abraham. That was cut out by Hunt, loops up in the air and gathered in by Adam Collin. The other thing as well, where this might boost the confidence, is that in the Premier League they're actually the lowest scorers with Huddersfield Town. So if you can fill your boots tonight, and that's something that was always a problem under Paul Clement, but it seems to have been dressed by Carvalho. It wasn't necessarily their defending, it was the amount of, or the lack of goals.
But when you look at the side which Carlos Carvalho has put out tonight, a lot of attacking players, a lot of flair players. Dyer, Routledge, Narsingh, Abraham, Carroll, a creator.
The voice of Chris Sutton, who won the Scottish Cup 3 times during his time with Celtic, north of the border. And 10 minutes to go to half-time. Here we are in Wales as the ball is aimed towards Stead for Notts County. It's going to come out to Hussein. First time shot, fine goal. Hussein hit it left-footed, just inside the D, and Nordfeldt was beaten. Didn't seem to move. Super strike, and Notts County have a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, a little fist pump from Kevin Nolan. And that looks the danger, doesn't it? It's just a direct ball, and John Stead has done this all his career, put Van der Horn under pressure. It's not cleared. Well, I think it's Sam Clucas who just pokes it out to the edge of the box. And I tell you what, it's a brilliant finish I say a brilliant finish. It takes a slight deflection. I think it's on its way in anyway. Hussein composed, no chance for Nordfeldt. And Notts County, have they wormed their way back into this?
Martin Atkinson has his hand to his ear once again before play can restart, just checking with VAR, but he's been given the all clear to do exactly that.
See, I don't like that. It's a perfectly good goal. I suppose they're looking at the Notts County forward players, whether they're blocking the line of Nordfeldt, but it just doesn't feel right, that the weight after the goal.
No, I'm not a fan. Mind you, certainly not lacking in humour, the Notts County supporters who've travelled down. We're going to win 4-3. They've just been singing in the end away to our left-hand side. As Roberts gets away from Duffy. Roberts into the penalty area, blocked by Hunt. Comes out to Clucas, first-time shot. And Abraham tried to get a touch on that as he was moving away from goal away to our left-hand side, but it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think Clucas firing a shot 25 yards out on the angle. Abraham will be disappointed. He couldn't get a deflection on that. Just seeing the goal again. There are 3 Notts County players in an offside position as the ball is struck, but they're not affecting the eye line of the goalkeeper. That's why that was checked.
He hardly moved anyway, did he? Nordfeldt, to the effort from Hussein, but it was a sweet strike, wasn't it? I know you said it took a deflection, but it had a bit of curl in it, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was on his way in anyway. Nordfeldt rooted to the spot. Good story. Hussein was playing at Hemel Hempstead not so long ago.
Yeah, and then signed by Crystal Palace, wasn't he? He'd moved to England from war-torn Afghanistan. He's actually only played 15 appearances in English League football, and this is only his 5th appearance for Notts County, and he's got his first goal for the club against Crewe at the weekend, where they had an excellent crowd. We heard from Alan Hardy in the build-up to the game. 17,274 was the official attendance, the highest attendance at Meadow Lane since 1994, and it marked a year in charge for Alan Hardy, and therefore he did a ticketing policy of 2 for Crewe. And I think to say with an attendance like that, it certainly works. It's actually a shame that Swansea City couldn't have done something similar tonight, to see so many empty seats here in the Liberty Stadium. Make football more affordable. Notts County buoyed by that goal as they trail now by 3-1, and it goes out of play, and it'll be a Swansea City throw on this side. 6.5 minutes to go.
Any direct ball into Stead, he's causing problems. He doesn't have to win the ball, just putting the Swansea backline under pressure, and that's when Notts County simply have looked the biggest threat.
Clucas out towards Norton on that far side. Kevin Nolan isn't too happy at the moment, just having a discussion with his coaching staff behind him as he stands up in that technical area as Dyer tries to thread a ball through towards Abraham, cut out well by Duffy. Virtue threw himself into the first challenge. Here he comes forward now, Matty Virtue, and managing to wriggle away is Hawkridge. Alessandra goes on the outside of him on the left hand side, level with the penalty area. Here is Alessandra back towards Dickinson, first time cross into the penalty area. Van der Horn will clear. Nicky Hunt loses out to Dyer, which doesn't seem possible when you consider that the lanky figure of Nicky Hunt up against, what is he, Dyer, 5'4"?
Yeah, Dyer's been the best player on the pitch, though. Caused Notts County all sorts of problems.
Norton deceived by the bounce of the ball. Alessandra is in behind him. Turns inside the penalty area, holds the ball up. Hussein comes forward now, back towards Alessandra, still with his back to goal, works it out towards Hawkridge, left hand side. Chips over the cross, over the head of Stead, headed away by Routledge. Abraham will come back to win the ball for Swansea City and uses his strength, and he's helped out by Dyer, and the Premier League side are back in control once again with 5 minutes to go to the break as they lead by 3-1. Routledge turning inside the centre circle. The Notts County fans are vocal. Hard to try and gain any sort of an atmosphere inside this Liberty Stadium tonight. Sure, there'll be much more of a healthier one for the visit of Burnley in the Premier League at the weekend. Routledge just outside the D, dispossessed, maybe a break on for Notts County, up towards George Grant, the leading scorer, fouled by Clucas.
Go in the book for that. Yeah, Clucas just pulling Grant back when he was away. Good touch from Grant, cutting across Clucas, and the break was on. You have to say the last 5 or so minutes, though, after the goal, Notts County have looked more of a threat. They've just fancied this a little bit more.
Well, another goal for Notts County, and that would make it interesting. Certainly they do believe, the 500 who've travelled down from Nottingham to our left-hand side. Collins going to take the free kick. The other two ties remain goalless starting the second half very, very soon. Birmingham City, Huddersfield, Rochdale against Millwall yet to have a goal. Colin then goes long with a free kick. Flicks on. Oh! It was Alessandra who was in there, and it was saved by Nordfeldt.
Well,
might have come off the Swansea player, actually.
I think it came off Bartley. One long punt again from the goalkeeper. And it's just the pressure just Swansea defenders were under, and Bartley, I think, inadvertently heads it back to Nordfeldt.
Alessandra and Stead was also lurking. They go back to Nordfeldt now. Alessandra will try and press. Van der Horn, who switched moved out towards that right-hand side, will clear long. Here is Norton hooking the ball downfield, taken quite high on the chest by Narsing. And Notts County are actually, as Chris Sutton says, having a good spell in this game. Here is Hawkridge coming forward. There's a man over, Alessandra, left-hand side, trailing by 3-1. Hawkridge, forward ball, into the penalty area. Stead is there, might come back towards Grant, beaten away by the goalkeeper. Here is Hunt on the edge of the area, and plays in the cross in the end, only partially cleared. Alessandra, back to Dickinson, the left back, to Alessandra, left side of the penalty area. Good spell this for Notts County, low ball into the box, cleared away by Van der Horn. One thing we've realised so far is that Christopher Nordfeldt doesn't like to catch the ball. All of a sudden the cup tie's warming up. Abraham, Narsing will be beaten too by Duffy, and Duffy will marshal it out for a goal kick, but Notts County another good chance.
I tell you what, fair play to Notts County. They've got the goal, they fancy this, putting Swansea under real pressure. It's decent technique from Grant. It's on the half volley. It's 15-16 yards out. He watches it all the way. The ball drops. I think Nordfeldt could have caught that. Grant gets it on target. I don't think Notts County want half-time to come.
No, they're finishing the half the stronger of the two teams, and if they could get another goal back, then that would certainly aid Kevin Nolan's half-time team talk. Christopher Nordfeldt played in the 6 cup games this season, 2 clean sheets. He's now conceded 6 goals. As the little flick on by Stead. Alessandra makes the run in behind him, quite a lively sort of player. Out towards Hawkridge, left corner of the penalty area. Alessandra's in close proximity if he needs him. Hawkridge goes it alone. Plays the ball back now to Alessandra, off his right foot. Virtue was there, just couldn't stab it goalwards on the near corner of that 6-yard box. But again, a good opportunity for Notts County. Swansea City will break. This is where the League Two side have to be wary, but they don't leave too many gaps at the back for these players like Dyer to exploit. As Dyer works over the cross, there was a body check there, Hunt on Abraham. Here is Roberts playing the ball back for Clucas, left corner of the penalty area. Swansea lead by 3-1. We're about to enter the last 60 seconds of this first half here at the Liberty Stadium. And Swansea City slow it down. Roberts and Carroll.
I'd like to see that chance again for Virtue. Had he got any contact on that in Swansea?
Abraham, nice back heel. Clucas is in. Excellent challenge by Virtue. Just as Clucas looks to try and peel back the left foot, Virtue slides in, and a goal-saving challenge.
Yeah, he's linked up well, Tammy Abraham. Clever little back heel. Lucas drives into the box. Good shift right onto left. Looks like he's going to get a free shot at goal, but Virtue tracks his runner. Gets it out. Swansea corner.
Massey Virtue on loan from Liverpool. He's 20 years of age. This is only his 4th appearance for Notts County. The Swansea City have the corner. And the corner comes in now from that right-hand side, and Adam Collin, a comfortable take. We'll see how much added on time we're going to have. Shouldn't be too much at the Liberty Stadium from referee from the 4th official Andre Mariner. In fact, it's just the 2 minutes that are being shown to the crowd here in South Wales. And I bet you Bovril and cups of tea have never shifted off these half-time catering stalls as quickly as tonight here in South Wales. As we're into added on time with Swansea City leading by 3-1. Dyer keeping the ball in play, doing well on that far side, the right touchline. Carroll, Clucas. Now to Routledge in the centre circle, ball through the middle, cut out by Duffy. It was a well-timed intervention from Duffy, and it needed to be, because Abraham would have been in on goal.
Yeah, important from Duffy to get that right. Good run in behind from Abraham. Outstretched right leg of Duffy. Last gasp.
The voice of Chris Sutton on BBC Radio 5 Live. You might well be listening to us on the red button as well. As just seeing out time, Swansea City now. Carlos Carvalhal continuing to just stand, and collar of his jacket tucked up towards his ears. There's Kevin Nolan watching on, and the tracksuit manager. Such as the good work that Kevin Nolan has done. He actually signed a new 3-year deal back in September. They rate him highly, an integral part of the 5-year plan for Notts County as they try and work their way back up the Football League to the Championship. and certainly riding high, third in League Two at the moment. But Swansea City just killing the game in these closing stages.
Yeah, and they're just trying to take the sting out. Notts County getting the goal back and have finished this half strongly and going at half-time with a little bit of hope.
And also just go long, because every time they have gone long, they've had a sniff of a goal, haven't they, Notts County? As Narsing tries to latch on to a forward ball on that right-hand side, and here he is. Abraham peels away from his man. Abraham gets his second of the night, and in first half stoppage time, Swansea City restore their 3-goal cushion. That's a hammer blow for Notts County. But the Carvalhal revival rolls on for Swansea City, and Abraham back in amongst the goals.
Yeah, I spoke too soon, I have to say. Really well worked, a raking ball from Barkley, 50-60 yards. And it's all about the ball back. I think it's poor defending from Notts County. Abraham, clever play, just peels off at 15 yards out, level with the near post, and he whips the ball, pace and precision, into the far corner. Colin, no chance. Wonderful finish.
It's almost like they lulled Notts County into a false sense of security. We were talking about them killing the game as the half-time whistle sounds, and then all of a sudden they go long. Searching ball, Narsing's onto it, and Abraham with a finish. So 2 goals for Abraham, 2 for Dyer. In between, a fine effort from Hussein. We've seen 5 goals in the first half of this FA Cup tie, but it's Swansea City who are on course for the 5th round. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, Swansea, scintillating start, getting the goals up, and then he thought there was no way back for Notts County. Hussein scored a goal against a run of play, and then a little bit of hope. A period of pressure for Notts County, but you have to say that goal on half-time from Abraham, wonderful finish. Hopefully we'll see Tammy Abraham confidence back now, but long way back for Notts County now.
So Mark Purgat, Swansea City 4, Notts County 1 at the break.
Well, the strange thing is, Chris, that at 3-1 Notts County twice went very close, and you're thinking they make it 3-2 here, then we really have got a game on our hands. But the defending for the 4th goal was pretty average, wasn't it? Because Tammy Abraham pulls off to the edge of the penalty area, and the defender just looks at him and doesn't close him down.
Yeah, I mean, it's good movement from Abraham, is aware of the situation, but it actually looked, after Notts County got the goal back, that they were the side in the ascendancy, and it was Swansea who wanted half-time, but it's really well worked. And it's good to see Tammy Abraham back. There's a player in there. He came to Swansea with high hopes. A lot of people questioned the decision to let him out on loan. But, the second finish especially was a finish of real class.
Certainly was. Half-time then at the Liberty. Swansea 4, Notts County 1. They're hogging all the cup goals there, Ali Bruce. Ball you could do with anything, couldn't you?
Well, we've just got one.
Yes.
Yeah, and a really good one as well, Mark. 7 minutes into the second half, Championship Birmingham lead Premier League Huddersfield 1-0. Shay Adams on the turn, half volley, went like a rocket into the bottom corner. Really good finish from Shay Adams, and Birmingham lead Huddersfield 1-0 with the prize tonight, the winners at home to Manchester United in the 5th round. Cracking goal that.
There we are, first goal of the night at St Andrews then, as they're about to kick off after that, and to Rochdale and Millwall and Vicky Sparks.
Still goalless, but it's League One. Rochdale still having the better of the play on this very heavy pitch. They're coming forward again through Kitching, who's forced backwards. Cannon's fierce shot almost deflecting in off Meredith for an own goal, and it is the League One side who are on top against Championship Millwall. Rochdale 0, Millwall 0.
Elsewhere then in the Scottish Premiership into the second half, Motherwell 0, St Johnstone 0 and it's Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 1. League 1 in England into the second half, Bury 2, Wimbledon 1. And in League 2 after 50 minutes, it's Accrington Stanley 1, Swindon 0. EFL Trophy 4th round, started the second half, Yeovil 1, Fleetwood 1. And half-time in the semi-final is Lincoln 0, Chelsea under 21s 0. Scottish Championship second half news, Falkirk 2, Brechin 0. And Scottish League 1, Wraith Rovers 1, Albion Rovers 0. Joe Critcher at 3 minutes to 9 has the news.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
MPs have told the bosses of the construction company Carillion their explanation for its collapse isn't good enough. They've apologised but insist the firm was well run despite going into liquidation with massive debts. Michael is a 19-year-old apprentice bricklayer who's worried he won't be able to finish his apprenticeship. A man's been jailed for at least 26 years for murdering his ex-girlfriend by stabbing her 75 times. Molly McLaren was attacked in her car in Kent last June. The judge told Joshua Stimpson it was a cruel, calculated and cowardly act and he may never be released. The government says an extra £150 million will be given to councils in England to help pay for adult social care. Labour says ministers are still failing to give local authorities the money for safe, decent, quality services. Rescuers in Taiwan are trying to free people from a partially collapsed hotel after a powerful earthquake measuring 6.4 struck the city of Hualien. 2 people have died and more than 200 are injured. Julian Assange has lost his bid to have his UK arrest warrant dropped. Prosecutors said the WikiLeaks founder shouldn't be rewarded for outlasting Swedish attempts to have him extradited. He's been living inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London for more than 5 years. Elon Musk has successfully launched the world's most powerful rocket with his own sports car on top. The US entrepreneur's Falcon Heavy launcher took off from Florida's Kennedy Space Centre.
The Six Nations. Round 1 saw a harsh lesson for Scotland in Cardiff.
We played very poorly right from the start. We played to Wales, they played very well.
Here come Wales once again.
Ireland left it late to take the spoils in Paris.
Sexton, right footed, drop it, goal. Is it going to make it? It has made it!
And the English tri-machine overwhelmed Italy.
And England really are going through the gears in this final 10.
This weekend, round 2, Saturday, England versus Wales from 4:45 on 5 Live. And on Sunday, France head to Murrayfield for Scotland-France on 5 Live Sports Extra. Kick-off 3 p.m.
Six Nations Rugby.
Across the BBC. This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Pugach.
Right, goals in all our cup ties now. Vicky Sparks.
It's been coming. Rochdale, second bottom of League One, have taken the lead against Championship Millwall. It's their top scorer, Ian Henderson, his 12th of the season. Lovely work by his strike partner, Calvin Andrew, down by the byline. Pulled it back, and Henderson 6 yards out with a deft touch past David Martin in the Millwall goal. Rochdale 1, Millwall 0, and how pleased Rochdale will be that they did manage to get this game on after all.
So we're going to switch commentaries now. Swansea 4, Notts County 1 at half-time. The second half is live on BBC television, but we're going to switch to St Andrews. We just heard that Birmingham City have taken the lead. Birmingham City of the Championship against Premier League Huddersfield Town. So to St Andrews and our commentary team of Andy Townsend and Conor McNamara.
And it is 1-0 to Birmingham City. The goal from Che Adams was a very good goal. And suddenly Huddersfield find themselves chasing their participation in the Cup. There's a big prize on offer here. Manchester United at home in the next round. Andy Townsend alongside me. There's not been a lot of chances in this game. Crucially, Che Adams took that opportunity when it came his way.
Took it beautifully, Connor. Hit it sweetly from the edge of the box on the half turn. Lussell absolutely no chance in the Huddersfield goal. Since that goal, we've seen a better reaction, a spark from the visitors. They need to find more. You know, it's the one criticism I've got of Huddersfield of late. They've been sitting back waiting for something to happen.
Here's a chance though, breaking into the penalty area. Van Laparo's just come on as a sub and he's won a corner for Huddersfield, who are 19th in the Premier League. They're playing against Birmingham City, 19th in the Championship. And Birmingham, who've been organised at the back, they've made changes themselves. They've a big game coming up at the weekend, the Second City derby against Aston Villa. But despite the 7 changes, Birmingham have been very solid and haven't allowed any clean-cut opportunities. There was one fumble mistake by the goalkeeper in the first half that could have allowed a chance for Sabiri. But let's see what Moy could do here with a corner on the far side. Huddersfield playing left to right as we look down. Right footed delivery, whipped in, gets a flick onto the front post, but Jota is there to head it out of the penalty area. Phil Billing, the Dane, will pick it up. He's 15 yards outside the box. It's a very good pass to Tom Ince. Turns in the penalty area, tries to shoot across the face of goal. It's headed up into the air by Harley Dean. Birmingham haven't fully got this away. Shot drilled in low by Phil Billing. Comes back to him. This time he heads it into the box. They're scrambling. They've all hands on deck. Morrison gets a touch, and then it's cleared away by Mark Roberts. And you can tell that having having gone 1-0 down, suddenly Huddersfield Town have just stepped it up a gear.
Yep, Steve Cotterill, I can see down below us, is urging his team, get out, clear your lines, give yourself some breathing space. Don't want to sit back on the edge of the 18-yard box and just invite Huddersfield on, because they will. The visitors looking like now all of a sudden the bit between their teeth. They're chasing the game. It looks like they want to force the issue just that bit more.
Good game now. Rochdale are 1-0 up against Millwall. Swansea 4-1 up against Notts County. And here at St Andrews, Birmingham leading Huddersfield by the goal to nil. That goal scored by Che Adams, the former Sheffield United man. He got a hat-trick against Crawley in the League Cup in August. He was sent off against Huddersfield last season when these two sides met in the Championship. And tonight he has scored the goal that, as things stand, is sending Birmingham through to the next round to host Manchester United here at St Andrews. Here is Florent Haderchunai, who came on as a substitute at half-time. Moy crosses on the right-hand side, good delivery, no chances taken by Carl Jenkinson. He nods that out for a corner.
Yeah, decent ball in from Aaron Moy, fast whipped ball in towards the back post. Carl Jenkinson quite rightly not taking any chances and just turns that behind for a corner.
They want to get on with it. Van La Parra takes the corner quickly back to Scott Malone, whips it across the edge of the penalty area to Colin Quana. He looks up and wonders where is Haderchunai, who now eventually does come on the overlap. Quana still got possession. Oh, he's done well to tee up for Ince. Really good shot, saved initially by the goalkeeper, but bundled into the back of the net. It's an equaliser for Huddersfield. I think it's going to go down as an own goal. Mark Roberts on the goal line might well have put that into his own net after Quana, with a lovely pass, set up Tom Ince. The shot was powerful, the goalkeeper saved it, but he couldn't take the sting out of it, and despite the efforts of the defender on the goal line, it's bundled over. It's 1-1, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, I actually thought Stockdale should have done better. It was a good strike from Tom Ince. The goalkeeper appeared to get there and dealt with it, but he did nothing more than turn it right up into the air, and then defenders scrambling back to try and clear it, and it only inadvertently knocking it in the back of the net. It was Mark Roberts, was it? I think
Roberts was the defender on the line, yeah. Now there was also an attacker lunging in, but I think the last touch comes off Mark Roberts, the former Barnsley player. And it's 1-1, and I think David Wagner will be very pleased, because his team went behind here. They didn't allow their heads to drop. They actually upped the tempo. He made the attacking change, bringing on Van La Parra, and it's 1-1 now. Remember, there must be a winner tonight, even if we need extra time and penalties, as Che Adams gives the ball to the right-hand side to Carl Jenkinson, on loan from Arsenal. Gardner hits it from a long way out. Craig Gardner, it was on target, but it didn't quite have the sting to beat Jonas Lozil, the Huddersfield Town goalkeeper.
Completely different complexion now on the game. Both teams have made changes at half time, and obviously we've seen Birmingham go in front. That's forced Huddersfield to liven up and to play with a lot more intent and in being a lot more deliberate in the way that they're moving forward. They've responded well since going behind. They're now back in the game. Let's hope both teams now look to add to their tally rather than drop back to what we saw in the first half, when it was all just a little bit tame and a little bit one-paced.
So Tom Ince's shot, saved by the goalkeeper, but such was the power on it that it spun away backwards. It might even go down as a Tom Ince goal if the defender didn't get it before the goal line. Haderchunai, surely Ince will claim it. Here he is, just outside the edge of the D. Tom Ince, that's a good ball. Oh, well, it was probably just a little bit overstruck. Scott Malone had made a run from left back. Ince, who's all pumped up, probably put too much on that, and it just fizzed in front of Malone and out for a throw into Birmingham, who've just got to reconfigure here and remind themselves that, okay, they're disappointed to have conceded the goal, but it's still 1-1. It's still there for them.
Still very much in the game, everything to play for. Better atmosphere in the stadium. I think everybody now feeling that there's a game here now, there's a proper game taking place.
Tomorrow night we'll be at Wembley on 5 Live. Tottenham against Newport in the last of the fourth round replays. And here is Florent Haderchunai, and he sends it right-footed straight down the pitch. Ince will jump in the air. We've been told that the goal is going to be given as the own goal to Mark Roberts, which is what we sort of thought initially. Tom Ince will try to claim it, but last touch apparently did come off the defender. 1-1 it is. Adams for Birmingham, and an own goal by Roberts for the Huddersfield goal. As Cohen Bramall tries to cross on the left-hand side, and that's deflected away and out for a throw. For listeners in 5 Live who've just joined us, both wing-backs for Birmingham tonight are on loan from Arsenal. Carl Jenkinson, who's played many times in the Premier League, has been on loan at West Ham as well in the past. He's not played very often this season on loan for Birmingham. It's only his third appearance of the season. And then Cohen Bramall, who's a youngster, who's yet to feature for Arsene Wenger, but he's making his 6th appearance of the campaign for Birmingham, and he's got a right head of steam on him when he comes forward. He's got a lot of pace on the left-hand side. Long throw in into the penalty area, and all that's doing from Roberts is returning possession to the goalkeeper Yosel, who bowls it out expertly, overarm, picks out Tom Ince, who's really growing in stature in the game, beginning to pull the strings. Challenge comes in on him from Harley Dean. Harley Dean then is tackled on the halfway line. There's a good pace to the game. It's a proper cup tie now, Andy Townsend.
It is, you're right. Not only have we had the goals and we've got the intent from both teams, now all of a sudden we're seeing the physical element there. Tackles are flying in, all fairly, all above board, and that's exactly what we want to see.
Huddersfield, who've lost their last 5 league games in a row, they've slipped into the relegation zone in the Premier League. Here is Quana, tries to roll it into Mounier. Oh, it's been kept alive well here. Chance to turn and shoot by Hadergunay, and it's saved by the goalkeeper Stockdale away to our right hand side. So let's get an update from Rochdale tonight. Rochdale against Millwall. Here's Vicky Sparks.
Rochdale still leading by a goal to nil, but the big guns are on for Millwall. The Championship side made 6 changes coming into this, but Lee Gregory and Steve Morrison have entered the fray. Still Rochdale 1, Millwall 1.
Those two who played out a thrilling, thanks Vicky, those two who played out a thrilling game last season. It was 3-3 when they met. We'll be back if there are any further developments there. Swansea still leading Notts County by 4-1. But here it's all square. Birmingham City 1, Huddersfield Town 1 after a relatively dull first half. Not many scoring opportunities. They teased each other out really. Che Adams then with a very good strike to put Birmingham in front early in the first half, and then a good reaction by Huddersfield Town, and that own goal from Mark Roberts. It's 1-1 here at St Andrews, round about half full or thereabouts. Hadergunay at right back, who's come on for the injured Tommy Smith. Both Smith and Ndoye had to go off. They had a clash of heads. They played on for a long time after it, but then both were substituted at half time. Here comes Malone forward on the left hand side. He's ball into the penalty area, took a deflection, Ince ran after it anyway, but it goes out for the corner to Huddersfield, who were wearing their chain strip red with a black stripe. They're playing from left to right as we look down. And a chance now to get some bodies into the box as Moy goes across to place this ball for the corner.
They've got some big players in there as well. Congolo, Jorgensen, Quana, Mounier, Phil Billing. They've got some big players.
Moy, right-footed cross just along the edge of the 6-yard box. Sort of scuffed clearance by Carl Jenkinson. He got it out of the penalty area, but not very far. Here come Huddersfield again, but Quana loses the ball between his feet there really. It's cleared towards the centre circle. This is Phil Billing over into space for Scott Malone on the far side. Birmingham at the moment is sitting deep. Birmingham have only lost 1 of their last 8 games. That was against Derby. They got the draw away from home. The original game between these two 10 days ago at the John Smith Stadium. Hadergunay crosses from the right hand side, and that's cleared away, but Huddersfield will remain on the attack. 1-1, Andy Townsend.
Yep, Hadergunay's done well since he's come on at half time. He's been prominent for Huddersfield down this right hand side. Every opportunity he gets, he's on the gallop. He's not worrying about who's behind him or potentially who he's leaving. He just wants to get forward and support the team and hopefully get the ball to deliver into that box.
Moy loses it, the Australian, and that goes out for a throw in to Birmingham. Bramall prepares to take. 5-man defence for Birmingham with Roberts, Morrison and Dean, the 3 central defenders, and then Jenkinson and Bramall, the 2 wing backs. He arches his back, Bramall tries to get long distance on the throw. Jutkiewicz with a little flick on, but no one there to get advantage of it. And then down the other end, Terence Congolo. Well, I'll tell you, good work by Adams to try and put pressure on him there, Congolo, who was nearly tackled on the edge of his own penalty area. The tackle's beginning to fly in now. Birmingham are getting stuck in. Referee says, play on, they're all fair.
Much better that, Connor. When you see players forcing mistakes out of their opponent, that's exactly what Birmingham have got to do.
Lowe plays it forward to pick out Jota, crossing position on the right hand side. Billing goes across to put pressure on him. It's played back to Lowe, and then that's a poor ball, and Billings able to intercept, and now a chance of a counter-attack for Huddersfield. Mounier, good turn. Ince helps it on. Oh, he thought he left it for Quana, and Quana thought that Ince was just pushing it on to run after himself. Crossed wires between those two, and that's a bit of a let-off to Birmingham. It's becoming more and more end-to-end. Down the other end, Jutkiewicz into the penalty area, goes down under a challenge from Jorgensen. Referee says there's no foul there, no penalty, play on.
It was a bit casual there, Jorgensen, wasn't he? Under pressure from Jutkiewicz. In the end, I think the decision was the correct call. I don't think there was quite enough in it for the referee to point to the spot, but it was a bit casual, the defensive work there.
Down the other end, Aaron Moy just outside the tee, shoots, and it's always rising, and it goes into the supporters behind that goal, and he never really caught that sweetly. And Aaron Moy, who's normally got very good technique, he scored 4 goals this season, but that was blazed over the top.
Yeah, but both teams so far in the second half look like they have the will to want to go and win the game, that they want to take on Manchester United on their own patch in the 5th round. In the first half, there was for too often, Connor, it just didn't really live up to any sort of expectation or billing. Whereas this second half has been so much better watch and much more intent from both teams.
They are back underway at the Liberty Stadium for the second half. Swansea leading Notts County by 4-1. Much closer here at St Andrews, though, as Bramall does well down the left-hand side, gives it into Craig Gardner. Good vision to spot that Jenkinson is up on the right-hand side, but his attempted cross is blocked, and Lozel comes out of his goal mouth to make sure that doesn't go for a corner.
Yeah, poor from Carl Jenkinson there. It's often been his problem. What's let him down is his ability and quality at the top end of the field. Got full of running and full of energy, but he's got to make sure that when he gets high up the field, he delivers something.
Mark Roberts wins the tackle. Possession brought away by Harley Dean. Billing and Moy between them trying to get it back, but there's a lot of hustle going on there in the middle of the park, and Birmingham are giving as good as they get. Huddersfield come away with possession for now, though. Scott Malone tried to pick out Tom Ince on the edge of the D. Chance of a breakaway for Birmingham. Jota with a little step over. Malone sprinting to try and keep up with him. It's a good foot race down the far side. Jota then turns infield. That's lovely flair player. Proper kind of old-fashioned winger stuff there. Gardner is set up in the centre, urged by thousands of voices to shoot. Thinks better of it. He was a long way out.
Yeah. Crowd desperate for Craig Gardner to shoot. He did the right thing. He wasn't really set. It wasn't on. So he's just kept possession, and they have it again high up the field.
Jenkinson back to Morrison. Now he drops his shoulder and charges towards the edge of the box. Billing eventually makes the tackle, forces it back to the goalkeeper. That was a storming run from Michael Morrison. He picked up the ball inside his own half. He just kept going all the way into the Huddersfield penalty area, and eventually it was taken off his toe. More action down in the technical area. Some changes to be made. So Birmingham are going to make a change. They're going to bring on a youngster, an inexperienced player. Josh Dacres-Cogley is going to come on. He's a defender. And who's he going to take the place of? Carl Jenkinson, who's not had many games this season. So he goes off. So Josh Dacres-Cogley will come on, 21 years of age. Only made his debut in December against Fulham. This is only his 3rd ever senior appearance, and he is on in the FA Cup against Premier League Huddersfield with a score at 1-1. We're on 5 Live and Sports Extra from the BBC. Possession with Jason Lowe, the former Blackburn player, fed out to the far side. The first chance to come forward for Dacres-Cogley, and he leaves the ball behind him. Moy will pick it up for Huddersfield. Moy to Van La Parra. Dacres-Cogley's trying to get back into position here. Does well to hold up the Huddersfield attack. Now Malone sends in a cross. That's not a great delivery. And the goalkeeper Stockdale, I'm surprised he didn't actually just allow that go out for a goal kick, but he scrambled across and he kept the ball in play, and now he delivers it straight down the centre of the pitch. Jutkiewicz with a flick on, might have been held onto there. Jota picks up the loose ball. Referee waves play on. Dacres-Cogley has it on the right hand side, back into Jota, who's a creative player, and he's creating things for his team here. And again Gardner with a chance to shoot, but he puts it too high.
Yeah, it's on his left side. That's not his strongest side for Craig Gardner. He can hit decent shots from well outside the box. We've seen that over the years, but that one on his left side, not really ready. Again, I think there he should just go wide, keep the pressure on, keep asking a question rather than hitting it aimlessly over the top and relieving pressure.
Craig Gardner has scored 2 FA Cup goals in his career. Both came in his Sunderland days. He scored against Huddersfield last season in the Championship when Interesting story. They came here the very end of last season in the build-up to the playoffs. They'd already secured their place in the playoffs. David Wagner played a weakened team. And then even when Che Adams was sent off, and it was against 10 men for most of the match, still Huddersfield lost by 2-0. Good counter-attack again down the right-hand side. Dacres Cogley, who's got some speed on him, the young man who came on as a sub. He got all the way to the byline, just couldn't deliver the cross.
He has. It was a great ball, actually, that one from Jason Lowe in behind the Huddersfield fullback, and Dacres Cogley really chasing after it, gets right to it just as the ball's about to cross the byline, cuts it back, but no blue shirt on the end of it.
Let's go for an update to the Liberty Stadium. Swansea are taking on Notts County. There's been another goal. Ian Dennis.
8 minutes into the second half, and Notts County now trail 5-1 to the Premier League side, and Kyle Norton with the volley after the goalkeeper Adam Collin made a right hash of it, punching it straight to the Swansea City defender. So Swansea City 5-1 up now against Notts County.
Thanks very much, Ian. Chance here for Huddersfield. Tom Ince into the penalty area, deliver the cross, but they couldn't finish it.
Big chance. Quana it was who fed Tom Ince. I actually think Tom Ince has got to go on his own there. He's looking for Mounier. He's looking to roll something across the 6-yard box to give his fellow striker a tap in. I think you've just got to keep going there, and Tom Ince can work the goalkeeper himself.
So Huddersfield battling on, looking for a goal that might win this game inside the 90 minutes. Remember, we'll have extra time if it remains level here. Quana, little cushioned header down from Moy, midway inside his own half. Moy sends it direct forward, but too far in front of Tom Ince, and that's helped by Harley Dean, the former Southampton and Brentford player. Back to the goalkeeper Stockdale, who slips as he clears away. He's really struggled tonight, Stockdale. He's an experienced goalkeeper. He has struggled with his distribution from the ground.
And he's under no pressure there. Nobody's closing him down, and he rushed that clearance and ended up just knocking it out for a throw-in and giving the ball back to the opposition. Really poor that was from the goalkeeper. Just got, if he needs to take another touch, just take it, settle down, and wait until you're ready to deliver it before you knock it forward. There he just panicked and aimlessly booted it out of play.
Gardner rolls it back to the goalkeeper. That's not what he wants after struggling, but this time it's a clear connection and he boots it down the field. But Billing wins the header, gives it out to Van La Parra. Crossing position to the left. Oh, rolls it in front of Billing. Good ball into the penalty area. Now the cross is delivered. Harley Dean with a very important header. Quana drills it in just wide. What a goal that would have been. He hit that so sweetly. It's about a foot wide.
That's a wonderful strike from Quana. That really is. Good run from Phil Billing, gets to the byline, clips the ball back up. There's a Birmingham shirt that just manages to head it out towards the edge of the box, and Quana picked that up on the half volley really, really well. And Stockdale relieved to see that just a yard wide of the post.
Colin Quana, who has not scored yet this season, but he gave that everything. 1-1 it remains. Here is Florent Adachonai, the Swiss defender, coming over the halfway line on the right-hand side. Huddersfield wearing red, playing from left to right. Birmingham in their traditional blue and white. Quana in possession. Sub-zero temperatures here at St Andrews as Moy, one of many players wearing gloves down there, gives it on to Billing and over into space to Scott Malone on the left-hand side. Tries to drop a shoulder, lays it off to Tom Ince on the edge of the penalty area. Birmingham are sitting deep here. Ball is delivered in, and composed defending by Bramall. He came in, he just dummied it because he knew it was going to go out for a goal kick. There are two matches in the Scottish Premiership tonight. It is Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0, latest scoreline there, and Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 2. So 2 goals in both of those games. Motherwell and Rangers are in front. In League 1, Bury 2, AFC Wimbledon 1, and there's a game in League 2 as well tonight. Accrington leading Swindon by 2-1. You're up to date on 5 Live. Goal kick for Birmingham City, and David Stockdale sends it straight down the centre of the pitch. One in the air by Jorgensen. Ince gets a little flick on header inside the centre circle. Billing then controls with his chest. There's a few appeals that he handled it there, but the referee was close to it and waves play on. Malone now 20 yards inside the Birmingham City half, lays it off to Van La Parra. Back to Billing. I wonder if this is where the Premier League quality is going to tell, and the more expensive signings that Huddersfield have been able to make, and should that class run through. And remember, if you missed the team news earlier, 7 changes for Birmingham. Now that must be a foul on the edge of the penalty. Oh, Tom Ince was clearly fouled, and the referee has waved play on. Harley Dean can't believe he's got away with that.
Yeah.
That was one of the most blatant fouls you've ever seen.
Certainly was. I'm not sure whether Tom Ince would have actually got on the end of that pass, but certainly he was impeded, no question.
I believe they're using the video assistant referee at Swansea tonight. They're not doing it here at St Andrews, or probably would have been called into play there, but they do have more goals, a 6th of the night for Ian Dennis.
Yes, and it came just before the hour, and it was Wayne Routledge after Nathan Dyer had burst through. The ball broke towards Routledge, and a clinical, confident finish, right-footed into the bottom right-hand corner. It's his first of the season, but it's the 50th goal of his career as Swansea City lead Notts County 6-1.
Thank you very much, Ian. Here on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra this evening, we're at St Andrews, 1-1 between Birmingham City and Huddersfield Town. Just a bit of breaking news this evening. You might remember Patrice Evra back in November was involved in an incident with his club Marseille, where he attacked a fan before a Europa League game, and he hasn't been playing for them since. Well, the former Manchester United fullback is on the brink of signing for West Ham, the BBC understands. He spent the 13-14 season working under David Moyes at Manchester United before leaving for Juventus, but it could be that Patrice Evra on the brink of joining up with Moyes again, and with West Ham through to the end of the season. A fantastic player, Andy, great experience. You can see why Moyes would want to bring him in if he could get it.
Yep, no question. Patrice Evra's quality, just his fitness levels and just how much he desperately wants to play.
Here's Tom Ince, shoots from the edge of the penalty area, saved by Stockdale, brilliant second save. How did Malone not make it 2-1? The goalkeeper dived to his right to save the initial shot from Ince. It came back out to the goalkeeper, and Malone hit it straight into the goalkeeper's body.
Great strike from Tom Ince, and a super save that time from Stockdale. But you're right, there was 3 red shirts descending upon the goalkeeper. It dropped to Malone. He hit it first time, and somehow the goalkeeper managed to smother the shot. The ball stuck underneath him before anyone else had a chance to pounce on it.
1-1. Ince comes again. He's got a big influence in the game. He shoots, and 2 defenders came out to block it. Billing drills in another good shot from long range. He's a long way out. It skips wide of the post to the far side.
You know, this is the best I've seen Huddersfield play in terms of their ambition in recent weeks. Yes, of course, they're playing against a team from the Championship, but irrespective of that, they're pushing people forward. Wing-backs, full-backs are flying up the field. Wide players are looking to get into the box on the back post. They're crossing it, they're hitting things from the edge of the box. Much, much better. And I'm just looking at the reaction of the Huddersfield staff, David Wagner and his staff. Everybody really rallying their troops now, urging their players to have more of this.
Less than a quarter of an hour normal time to go, and Malone, who had that chance down the other end, plays it back to his goalkeeper Josel, and his clearance up to the halfway line. Van La Parra can't get there, but Billing does. Billing is having a good game, the tall Dane in the middle of the park. Now this is Rajiv Van La Parra, lays the ball off to Aaron Moy midway inside the Birmingham half. They've worked a bit of space here for Hadachunai on the right hand side. He delivers the cross, but it's headed away in the middle by Mark Roberts. Roberts, the man who scored an own goal to get Huddersfield back on level terms. Cross from the left hand side from Malone. Billing picks it up. Huddersfield were committing a lot of players forward, and Birmingham are having to sit very deep at the moment. Here is Tom Ince, who's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve tonight. Change of direction to Hadachunai on the right hand side. The defender Bramall trying to get close to him. Moy, little reverse pass, tries to dink it up towards Quana. Huddersfield hold on to possession, but they've been forced back to the halfway line, and the Birmingham fans will enjoy that.
Yep, they're doing all right though, Huddersfield. A lot neater, sharper in possession. Nice and tidy with their work all round. Looking the stronger team at the moment.
As Gardner wins the ball off Billing in the midfield, but Jutkiewicz can't make it stick. This is Hadachunai taking it over the halfway line on the right. That's a good ball in front of Steve Mounier, who's only had scraps to feed off tonight. Mounier holds it up well, tees it up for Ince. This could be it. Great save by Stockdale. He came out and he smothered the shot. He came so far off his line there, but it's excellent goalkeeping, and it goes for a corner. Ince, flat on his back, can't believe he didn't score there.
He's got to score. Tom Ince has got to score. He's just got to move that ball once more to sit the goalkeeper down, and he'll end up knocking that in the back of the net. It was a great counter-attack, started with Heather going down the right side.
Moy's corner is straight at the goalkeeper, but Stockdale caught it at his chest. Anyone sticking a head in there would have scored.
Yeah, really good football though from Huddersfield previously. Good counter-attack, lots of red shirts descending upon the Birmingham City 18-yard box. Just needed Tom Ince to just maybe take one more touch, just to move that ball one more yard to his left, and I'm sure he'd have knocked it in the back of the net. But at the moment now, all of a sudden, Jutkiewicz and Che Adams are just feeding off for scraps. Jota can't really get hold of the ball, and it's just wave after wave of Huddersfield attacks.
Here comes Haddad Chennai down the right hand side, gets into a crossing position, whips it in, but Harley Dean is well located to clear away. Gardner is having a good game in the midfield for Birmingham, tries to give it up to Che Adams, but it's intercepted by Billing. So here come Huddersfield again with Colin Quana on the right hand side. He's having a good game, you've got to say, some lovely touches. Was involved in the build up for the goal, as was this man, Tom Ince, whose shot was unable to be kept out by the goalkeeper David Stockdale. That's a lovely one too. Quana into the penalty area, gets to the byline, pulls it back. He was looking for Van La Parra, and it's put out for a corner. And a corner to Huddersfield on the right hand side.
Yeah, the home team very much on the rack right now. They've just got to try and weather this storm. Another corner going to be whipped in, this time from Tom Ince off Huddersfield's right with his left foot and in-swinger.
So many more back home.
Well inside the last 10 minutes now. Gardner back there, heads it away, goes out for a throw-in. Huddersfield remain on the attack on the right-hand side. So, 6-1 to Swansea at the Liberty Stadium. What about the Rochdale against Millwall game? The latest from Vicky Sparks.
Rochdale still leading 1-0. Last throw of the dice from Millwall. Jed Wallace, who scored in the original tie, is on as they look to avoid an upset against the team 33 places below them. Rochdale 1, Millwall 0 into the final 7 minutes.
1-1 here at St Andrews. Is there going to be extra time tonight in the FA Cup between Birmingham, 19th place in the Championship, and Huddersfield's 19th place in the Premier League? This is Quana. That's a good turn. He's got around Bramall. He's into the penalty area, but Jota was there and able to clear the ball away. Huddersfield come again. Van La Parra with a back heel. That was clever. Malone now crosses from the left hand side. Mounier gets up. Couldn't get a clean connection on it. Thought I actually might have hit his arm there, but referee waves play on, and another wave of attack comes for Huddersfield. It's becoming relentless now, but will the winner come before the 90th minute? Here's the cross from Haddad Chennai, headed away up into the air by Mark Roberts. Good defensive header, clears the penalty area, and Adams tries to turn Billing, but Billing's very strong. But there's a foul, pulling a shirt, free kick to Birmingham. That's going to relieve some pressure.
Yeah, just a bit of respite for that Birmingham defence, because they've been really tested over the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Change for Birmingham. Jeremy Boga, who's on loan from Chelsea, who actually played for Chelsea in August against Burnley in the Premier League before coming on loan here to St Andrews. Boga will come on to replace Lukas Jutkiewicz, who'd worked hard up front. Nothing really fell for him. But now a different type of player in Jeremy Boga.
Yep, he'll be pacey, and I think Steve Cottrell recognising that he needs an outball. He needs to be able to relieve pressure, and at the moment with Che Adams and Jutkiewicz, they hadn't been able to do that. Now Jeremy Boga, hopefully he can use his pace.
Chris Cogley's done well on the far side. Jota now into a crossing position. Chance to look up here for Jason Lowe, and the goalkeeper did well. He came out and narrowed the angle of the cross. That was actually high risk from Jonas Lössl, because if he'd missed that, it would have been an open goal to aim for in the middle, but he's put it out for a corner. Good atmosphere inside St Andrews now. Can Birmingham nick the winner to claim a Premier League scalp and to earn a home tie against Manchester United in round 5? Jota places the ball for the corner. He's a left-footed player for the far side, the right. It's in swinging. Stooping for it was Harley Dean at the front post. He's never scored for Birmingham. He can't get a clean connection. This is Gardner. Oh my word, he hit that well, but just wide. For a moment, that looked like it was in. Let's go to Swansea Notts County. Another goal for Ian Dennis.
And another goal for Swansea City. 66 minutes played. They lead Notts County by 7 goals to 1. But an absolute gem from Tom Carroll. Left-footed, curling effort into the top left-hand corner. Swansea City lead Notts County 7-1.
So 8 goals there. You can watch them all on the BBC Sport website right now. Here on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra, it's 1-1. And we've got 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining. It's been a good cup tie, Andy Townsend.
It's been a good cup tie, really good, Connor. And do you know what? Despite Huddersfield really pushing and testing Birmingham, they've still found something to attack over the last 5 minutes. A couple of situations. Jason Lowe very close to getting to the byline and picking a blue shirt out with a ball that he cuts back, but they've responded. It looks like they've come through that barrage of attacks from Huddersfield And can they now create one more good opportunity?
Birmingham have got their big local derby on Saturday. They go to Aston Villa in the Championship. But can they, in the meantime, book a home tie against Manchester United in the FA Cup? Hadachunai keeps the ball in play right up against the touchline down below us. Quana with an injection of pace. That's a good ball into the penalty area. Appeals for a penalty. Referee was a long way back behind that, and he waves away and play on. He looked uncertain there, the referee, Paul Tierney. That's great distribution by the goalkeeper to pick out Jota well over the halfway line. Huddersfield players trying to get back and scurry into position. Moyes made a very good interception, and that relieves a bit of pressure for his team. What do you think about the penalty shot?
No, I didn't think so. I didn't think that it was. I thought it was a stumble.
Here's Mounier trying to get in behind Roberts. Roberts is then nearly tackled by Ince. The loose ball falls to Van La Parra. Excellent tackle by Mark Roberts. Well, he might have had the own goal, but he's throwing himself in with the help of Michael Morrison there to win possession for his team. And down the other end, Dacres Cogley, this youngster, at only his third ever senior appearance, tries to push it in front of Jeremy Boga, but it's cut out and cleared out of play for a throw-in on the far side, which is taken quickly. Josh Dacres Cogley, chance to look up. Gardner just inside him. Good noise inside here now in St Andrews. 1-1. This is Gardner scooping it forward. It's a good pass, trying to pick out Dacres Cogley again, who's he just never knows when he's beaten. You think he's lost the ball, and he suddenly finds another gear to scamper onto it, and then a high risk back pass goes back to Stockdale, but it does find its way through. Clearance by Stockdale, straight down the centre of the pitch, headed up into the air by Hadachunai. Hadachunai gets it under his control, tries a little nutmeg on Cohen Bramall. Bramall, though, the youngster on loan from Arsenal, regains possession. And again, second time, infield to Craig Gardner. There isn't breathing space inside that midfield at the moment. It's very, very congested. 3 minutes of being handed on for stoppages at the end of the 90 minutes. So 3 minutes for one of these teams to bring this game to an end now, or else we're going to have extra time, maybe even penalties.
Yeah. Now you're just trying to create one chance, just one chance, one mistake, one momentary lapse of concentration can settle this.
Hadachunai allows it bounce inside his own penalty area, but he hooks it away for Huddersfield. Moy with the header. Quana won't get there though. Good work by Harley Dean. Moy wins it off him again though, and then across comes Roberts, and that's a good time tackle. Gives it up to Jeremy Boga. Up against the choke of the touchline on the left-hand side, just down below us in front of the dugouts, and Boga actually runs the ball out of play, and that's going to be a throw into Huddersfield. So Swansea are certainly going through. At the moment it looks like Rochdale are going through. They're still 1-0 up against Millwall tonight in the fourth round replays, but it's level at 1-1 here at St Andrews between Birmingham City of the Championship and Premier League Huddersfield. But here comes Tom Ince. Can he do it? Turns and strikes, but it's always spinning away off the outside of his boot and wide of the target.
Yeah, he's played well, Tom, in second half. He's looked dangerous. Whenever he's had the ball, he's tried to be positive and make something happen for his team. And there on his left foot, he just drops the shoulder, steps inside on his left foot. He did have the option of maybe trying to go for the far post and wrap his foot around it. In the end, he drove through it, and it's just faded wide of the far post. But he's done very well second half.
We're inside stoppage time. I must say, Andy Townsend, tonight when we arrived here in the sub-zero temperatures, if you'd said to me extra time, I'd have thought, I don't know if I fancy that. But it's actually enticing to watch now.
It is.
And it's a difficult call to say who's going to win it. This could be a good extra time. Boga on the edge of the D, if it indeed comes to that. Jota tries to touch it onto himself, but he can't get onto it. He tried to flick it beyond the defender and burst, but there was two between him and the goalkeeper, and Huddersfield clear it away. Harley Dean, full of heart, running down the other end. Tackled though by Tom Ince. Quana and Ince are both fouled by Gardner in one sliding challenge. Here comes Mounier. Is there to be the late winner? Mounier to Van La Parra. Turns and shoots, and it's just wide of the top corner. Huddersfield have had some shots in this second half.
I think they've had more shots in this second half than they've probably had over the last 15 games in the Premier League. They really have. Fantastic work from Tom Ince there moments ago. Runs 30-40 yards back to rob Harley Dean, and then immediately turns his team on the counter-attack, and in the end it finishes with a shot from Van La Parra. From our angle we can't see how close it was, but from the reaction of the players it couldn't have been too far away.
David Wagner down there with his arms folded across his chest. Huddersfield have got Bournemouth in the Premier League on Sunday. At least they don't play until Sunday. Even if they've got the extra half hour tonight, the recovery time should be there for any players who would be involved from the start again at the weekend. Here is Cohen Bramall, tackled by Billings, tries to bite back. Billings is hard to wrestle off the ball, and it really does become a wrestle. And Billing then pushes Bramall, and that's not a very clever retaliation. But it was quite like wrestling there, the way they were pulling and shoving off each other and spinning each other in the air.
It was almost a spike tackle, wasn't it, in the end from Billing on Bramall? It was, but there you go, that's it.
That's the full time. We are going to have extra time at St Andrews tonight to decide who goes through, because after 180 minutes, there's nothing between them. 1-1 tonight.
OK, back with you for extra time. Let's go to Vicky Sparks as Rochdale try and see off Millwall.
On the verge of doing so. We are into the final minute of the 4 added on. Rochdale of League One leading Championship side Millwall by a 0-0 thanks to Ian Henderson's goal 8 minutes inside the second half. On the verge of reaching the FA Cup 5th round for only the 3rd time in their 111-year history. There's been pinball in the Rochdale area in the past few moments, but they've got the ball down the other end of the pitch now, and they'll win a throw as well. In fact, it goes Millwall's way, but the ball is not where Millwall want it, right deep in their own half. This match, Rochdale works so hard to get it on. Half of the pitch resembles a beach more than a football pitch. The yellow and brown stripe all down the right hand side, but Rochdale has not been hidden hope from them. They have tried to play the ball on the ground, and they have coped with the conditions better. Millwall concede possession. Rochdale have a throw just inside their own half. Their manager Keith Hill animated on the touchline. He knows they are so close. We have played the 4 added minutes. Rochdale with the throw, and the referee blows the full-time whistle. League One Rochdale have knocked Championship Millwall 33 places above them out of the FA Cup, and their reward will be a tie against either Tottenham or Newport. Keith Hill said it was a carrot potentially playing Tottenham that even a blind donkey could see, and they've got it potentially if Tottenham come through that replay. But Rochdale through to the 5th round. There is a pitch invasion which the stewards and the announcer asked not to happen. There are some fans on the pitch, but Rochdale will celebrate through to the 5th round for only the 3rd time in their history, beating Millwall by a 0-0.
Thank you very much indeed, Vicky Sparks. She'll get us some reaction to that. So Rochdale against Tottenham or Newport County, and Swansea City going through in some style, it's got to be said, Ian Dennis.
Yes, with 15 minutes remaining, Swansea City 7, Notts County 1. And this is a club record. It's their record FA Cup victory, beating their previous best against Folkestone back in 1966, which was a 7-2 scoreline in an FA Cup first round replay. This, of course, is a 4th round replay, and I've got to say, Mark, you wouldn't rule out another goal as Swansea City are just stroking the ball around at will. The 7th goal was an absolute peach from Tom Carroll, curling into the top left-hand corner, but Chris Sutton very, very comfortable.
Yeah, and they've knocked the ball around really well, playing full of confidence, Swansea. The goal from Carroll really was exquisite, struck from 25 yards in off the underside of the bar, but there's a golfing class. You feel for Notts County. I think that 4th goal on the stroke of half-time really killed the game, and Swansea just stroking the ball around at will. Notts County, Kevin Nolan, will want an end to this as soon as possible. I think it takes 7 at this stage.
14 minutes remain, and Swansea City leading Notts County by 7-1.
So Rochdale have beaten Millwall. Rochdale through to round 5. Birmingham Huddersfield back there in a second extra time. It's 1-1 after 90 minutes. Scottish Premiership full times: Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0, Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 2. In League 1 at Gig Lane in stoppage time, Bury 2, Wimbledon 1. In League 2, Accrington have beaten Swindon 2-1, so 5th beats 7. In the EFL Trophy 4th round result, Yeovil 3, Fleetwood 2. And in stoppage time at Sincilbank in the semi-finals, it's Lincoln 1, Chelsea 1. FA Trophy at the moment, Billericay beating Harrogate 3-2. Bromley are going to go through. They're hammering Workington 7-1. East Thurrock 2, Spennymoor 5 after an hour. Gateshead have beaten Maidstone 3-0. And it's Stockport 2, Maidenhead 2. Scottish Championship full-time, Falkirk 3, Brechin 1, and in League 1, Wraith Rovers 3, Albion 1. Back to Andy Townsend and Conor McNamara. Extra time underway at St Andrews.
Thank you very much, Mark. Yes, 1-1 it is. They had the original game 10 days ago at John Smith Stadium. That one finished 1-1. 1-1 after the 90 minutes tonight. Che Adams with his 6th goal of the season, a very good one to put Birmingham City in front. And then an own goal from the defender Mark Roberts after Tom Ince's powerful shot was only parried by the goalkeeper. And we are in extra time. Birmingham have made their 3 substitutions. Huddersfield still have 1 in the bag. Should David Wagner need it during these 30 minutes that are to come. But we are back underway with Birmingham playing from right to left as we look down. The blue shirts, the white shorts, the blue socks. Huddersfield are their change trip tonight, predominantly red. And I'll give you a rundown of the teams in just a moment, but here is Van La Parra down the left hand side, delivers across towards Mounier. Good challenge by Harley Dean to block the shot at source. It goes back out to Van La Parra, crossing position, but he opts to roll it back to Billing. Billing from a deep position delivers into the penalty area, and Roberts clears it away for a throw. Andy Townsend.
Yeah, good chance there actually for Steve Mounier. A striker that's been starved really of opportunities for most of the season from what I've seen, but that was an opportunity for him there on his left foot, well blocked, well marshalled in the end by Roberts, and who managed to get a decent block on it and just make sure that it was steered to safety.
So these are the teams as the cross comes in from Malone on the far side, and it's cleared away by Mark Roberts. David Stockdale, the former Fulham and Brighton goalkeeper for Birmingham. 3 central defenders, Roberts, Morrison and Dean. The wing backs now are Josh Dacres Cogley on the right hand side, Cohen Bramall on the left. They're both young players. Here is Bramall. Oh, it's a good run into the penalty area, left hand side, tries to hook it back, and it took a deflection off a defender, and that took the sting out of it and allowed Huddersfield to clear away. In the midfield, Craig Gardner is in there with Jason Lowe. Then Jota is on the right hand side, the former Brentford player. Jeremy Boga on loan from Chelsea is on the left, and Che Adams is the striker through the centre. Adams, who was sent off against Huddersfield last season in the Championship. Birmingham won that game though. Can they win tonight and book a 5th round home tie against Manchester United? That's the prize on offer here, a lucrative one. Tom Ince's possession, 10 yards outside the penalty area for Huddersfield. Their team in just a moment. Here is Haider Chennai, who came on as a half-time sub. Back into Ince in the middle, back out to Quana, and then to a deeper position to Billing. This is all 10 yards outside the Birmingham City penalty area. Haider Chennai again to Moy. They're being considered about their passes here. They're not taking chances, Huddersfield. They're holding on to possession on the edge of their opponent's penalty area. If you're just joining our coverage here in extra time, Huddersfield, who had a lot of long-range shots, just fizz marginally off target during the 90 minutes. And now they're trying to see if they can tease their way into the penalty areas. Van La Parra does a change of direction, still 5 yards outside the penalty area. Scott Malone available in a crossing position on the left, gets around Dacres Cogley. It's a good delivery. Mounier's header. Oh, that's good. That's a really good header. Bit of Premier League quality being displayed there. Powerful header beyond the goalkeeper for the first time tonight. Huddersfield of the Premier League have got themselves the lead. Birmingham 1, Huddersfield 2.
That's the sort of service he has been screaming out for. He's been desperate for something to attack, and it was a really good ball from Scott Malone. Got to the byline, looped across towards the back post, but from the moment that ball was in the air, Mounier attacked it. He went after it. He looked like he wanted to desperately get his head on the end of it. He did, and he steered it past Stockdale perfectly.
It's only his 6th goal for Huddersfield for Steve Mounier. He got one against Birmingham in the original game 10 days ago. He has scored tonight. Good work from Van La Parra and Malone down that left-hand side to deliver the cross into the 6-yard box, and Mounier was there, the man who scored twice at Crystal Palace in his debut in August. He's only scored in 1 league game since then, got 2 against Brighton in December, but that's a very important header that might put Huddersfield into the 5th round, and another meeting with Manchester United, a team they've already beaten at home this season, and of course beat them just this past weekend in the Premier League.
Yep, quite right. Until that point, they've still got to focus and concentrate here. They have the lead now, but they have to. There's more goals for them if they want to go up. They can put this tie now out of Birmingham's reach. The home team are going to push. They're going to press. If they counter correctly, they could get
Harley
another.
Dean onto Jota, crossing position on the left, and good defending by Jorgensen to put it out for a corner. Well, Birmingham have played some good stuff tonight. They've got to believe that they've the best part of 25 minutes here to try and get back into the game. But I'd imagine they won't stick with three-man defence for much longer. They've got to throw it all at getting the equaliser now.
Take a chance. Craig Gardner with the corner. He's going to whip it in under that bar. They need to make sure. Good movement. And players are really desperate to get on the end of it.
Here he comes. Gardner, short run-up. Right-footed delivery. Goalkeeper decided early he was coming. Good decision. Yulzel is able to hold on to possession and falls onto the ground. So Birmingham 1, Huddersfield Town 2. That second goal came in before it could give you the full rundown of the Huddersfield team. So Yulzel is the goalkeeper. Had a Chennai now at right back. Matthias Jorgensen, Zanka as he calls himself, in the centre along with Congolo. Malone is a left back. Billing and Moy are in the middle of the park. Ince, Quana, Van La Parra, and then Steve Mounier, the man who has scored the goal that has put Huddersfield in front. The goals still flow at the Liberty Stadium. Ian Dennis has seen another one.
And an 8th goal for Swansea City against Notts County, and Daniel James on his debut, cross from the right, chested back into his path by Abraham, very little backlip, right footed into the bottom right hand corner. 8-1.
And a goal for Huddersfield here. That puts them 3-1 in front. Van La Parra, after the ball ricocheted back into his path in the penalty area, and he picked his spot, rolled it into the bottom corner. It's a 2-goal cushion now. Birmingham City 1, Huddersfield Town 3.
Yeah, exactly. Really well played from Tom Ince again, who I think's been the pick of the bunch for the away team in the second half, and certainly from what we've seen so far in this first period of extra time. He's been really deliberate with every time he's got the ball. He's tried to make something happen again. Ran through there, very close to scoring himself. And Van La Parra it was, who was on his guard and made sure that he was following up. And he just managed to get on the end of that ball as it come back from Stockdale and just tuck it in. And now they have a 2-goal cushion.
2 goals in just over 6 minutes of extra time. And that has completely turned this on its head. And as you'd imagine, so many Birmingham City fans are now making their way towards the exits. Birmingham 1, Huddersfield Town 3. The Premier League quality is beginning to tell here. Van La Parra, who scored in the third round against Bolton last month. He scored against West Brom in November. That's been his one Premier League goal. And now he scored here away at St Andrews. And this is now a commanding position. Surely Huddersfield aren't going to blow it from here.
Well, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. That's for sure. What they must do now is continue to keep the ball and then work that Birmingham back four. They've got lots of energy and pace now up front in Van La Parra and Tom Ince, up there with Mounier. And every time they get the ball now, if they're in trouble, they've just got to clip it in behind Birmingham.
Jota scoops one over the top, looking for Boga. Uncertain defensive header. Boga could be in here. Puts it goal bound and wide. Goalkeeper came out here to try and flick it acrobatically beyond him, and he didn't get the cleanest of connections, and that goes wide. Well, Birmingham have got one back straight away. It would have made things intriguing once again. And the change is going to be made for Huddersfield, their third and final change. Sean Scannell is going to come on here, and he will take the place of Colin Quana. So Quana goes off, and on comes Scannell, and now both teams have made their 3 substitutions.
Yep, David Wagner just topping his team up with a bit more energy. Certainly that was a chance for Jeremy Boga, and Lössl was nowhere really. Another touch maybe from the Birmingham man, and he might have been in a better position to tuck that one in and get his team right back in it.
So what do Birmingham do here? Mark Roberts back on his own byline, turns and clears away towards Jota. Jota's flick in field. Oh, Harley Dean's going to have to stretch here. He does just get there on the edge of the penalty area. This is Jason Lowe. It's only his 6th appearance in all competitions this season. Tackers Cogley, who's a real novice on the right-hand side, tries to attack the penalty area, but gives it away. Groans of frustration for the Birmingham City fans. Huddersfield beginning to turn the screw now and just take full control of the game. Just a reminder, if you're tuning away here on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra, that Birmingham did take the lead tonight just after half-time in regular time. But Huddersfield Town have responded with 3 goals.
They have indeed. Both teams had chances in normal time actually to pinch this tie. But in the end, certainly since we've got underway in extra time, Huddersfield have imposed themselves, shown a bit more authority and a bit more control in their game. And they've had chances, they've punished Birmingham, and now they're in a very commanding position. It shouldn't slip away from them here.
More FA Cup football tomorrow, the last of the 4th round replays. I'll be at Wembley for Tottenham against Newport. And Larkin preparing to come on here. As Scannell now comes over the halfway line. His first involvement since coming on as a substitute. Good pass to the left-hand side. Chance to steady himself, but it's drilled in and deflected, and eventually a shot does come on target from Mounier, but it had no sting in it, and that's easily cleared away. Long clearance by the goalkeeper. What a clearance that is, right to the edge of the penalty area down the other end. Che Adams controls. He tried to flick it into Jota, who made a good run in support, but excellent defending by Terence Kongolo, the man who joined in January from Monaco, and Huddersfield clear it away.
Huddersfield again on the attack, this time Scannell using his energy to take the team high up the field. Really good ball, you're right, from David Stockdale moments before. Goalkeeper caught the ball and immediately dispatched a 70-yard pass right up the other end of the field to Che Adams. He was really close to finding Jota in a good position.
And of course I've fallen into the trap of forgetting about the extra substitutes allowed in the FA Cup this season, but Larkin will come on. Of course they are allowed to make the extra change. So Larkin comes on, and who went off there? It was
Jason Lowe.
Jason Lowe, yeah, the former Blackburn man. So Larkin will come on for what will be the last 5 minutes or so of the first half of extra time. Van La Parra here tees up a shot for Love, and it was always careering wide of the target, and it drifts off target. But they've had some shots tonight from distance, Huddersfield, and none of them that far away.
Nope. I think they've reminded their manager tonight that if he gives them licence to attack and to go and play and believe in himself, encourages them to get forward more, then they can give themselves an opportunity to win a game or two in the Premier League. Too often of late, Huddersfield have been too negative, lacked the ambition, and have played with fear. Tonight against inferior opposition, but they've showed they can play and they can pose a threat going forward.
Here comes Van La Parra, tries to cross from the left-hand side. Tom Ince will collect the ball and actually runs back out of the penalty area. Love has come to support him, drills in a shot across the goalkeeper, who does get his hands to it, Stockdale, and parries it out of the penalty area. So here is Charlie Lackett, who's just come on as the substitute for Birmingham. He's got Jota outside him to the right hand side. Jota, who showed a bit of flair tonight, can he deliver a cross from the right hand side? Good defending by Kongolo to block him down. Then Dakars Cogley picks up the loose ball, feeds it back once again to Jota. Birmingham, who've not give up the ghost here, they're playing with their heads up, they still have got the endeavour, but it's just not falling for them as the latest cross is deflected away by Lova. And Huddersfield aren't just bashing it away, they're holding on to possession. Moy here on the edge of his own penalty area.
Yeah, where they can, they need to keep it, invite Birmingham out onto them, and try and then find a way through once more with the pace they have up front.
The first goal in extra time came in the 94th minute, the second one in the 97th. Chance from a long way out, struck by Cohen Bramall, who's never scored a senior goal in his career, and that one careers up and over the crossbar.
Yeah, that's a bit of a waste, that one, but I've been impressed with Bramall. I think every time he's picked the ball up from that left wing back position, he's tried to get forward. He's very quick, he's a very ambitious young boy. You can see he's got some genuine quality.
Huddersfield, who host Bournemouth in the Premier League on Sunday, then it's back-to-back away games at West Brom and then at Tottenham. As, after taking a long time over it, Jonas Lozil eventually does take the goal kick and clears it straight down the centre of the pitch. Lacan's header goes straight up into the air. Billing controls it for Huddersfield, helped out by Mounier, the man who got the second goal for Huddersfield tonight. And then Hada Chunai rolls it back to the goalkeeper Lozil once again. Birmingham will chase and harry and harass, but Huddersfield Town are turning the screw here.
They are a little bit. Tough night for Blues because they've worked hard. First 45 minutes they were a little bit tentative and perhaps once or twice a little bit fearful of their so-called superior opposition, but once they got in front we had a genuine cup tie on their hands.
Lovely play, an interchange between Ince and Mounier. Ince was fouled at the end of that. Referee waves play on because Mounier was still going. Now Scannell's involved, crossing position on the right hand side, gives it back to Hada Chunai. This is the corner angle of the penalty area. Right hand side as Huddersfield come forward. They're wearing the change strip tonight, all red. Van La Parra now on the right wing looks up and rolls it into midfield again to Billing, and it's keep ball for Huddersfield now, and it's just frustrating Birmingham, and we're into the last minute of the first half of extra time. Billing rolls it into the centre circle. It was a very even game through the 90 minutes, but here in extra time the class is telling. Here's another chance, blazed over the top by Mounier with the goalkeeper out of position. He should have done better from there.
Yeah, he's got to finish that. That's a gilt-edged opportunity for Steve Mounier there. Ball dropped to him from good header, good nod down again from Tom Ince, who salutes the pass from Congolo forward, but Mounier's got to bury that.
Well, there we go. Half time in extra time, but it has all swung. The pendulum has moved in Huddersfield's favour. It was 1-1 after 90 minutes, but 2 goals in 7 minutes has made it Birmingham City 1, Huddersfield Town 3.
Andy, I'm sure you're very much of the get a win, it's good for you in any competition, it'll build your confidence camp, which is presumably what David Wagner will be thinking at this stage.
Definitely, Mark. They came here this evening on the back of a really poor run. No confidence in the team, no real ambition from in their forward play. Certainly that's not been evident at all in their recent Premier League matches. So to go 1 down here and be on the brink of on the end of an FA Cup shock, they've done really well to turn that round. They've done it in a bit of style as well. They've had a bit of swagger. There's been some genuine opportunities and chances created, and they've looked a lot better going forward, Mark. I'd just like to see more of this when they play against some of the bigger teams in the Premier League. This is the only way they're going to survive. They're not going to survive in the Premier League by sitting back and waiting for something to happen. They've been much better tonight. From a poor position, they've turned the game on its head.
Back with you in the second half. Bit of history for Swansea City, Ian Dennis.
Yes, their record FA Cup victory has been registered tonight against Notts County. They have beaten the League Two side by 8-1 as Notts County go to acknowledge their travelling supporters. But for Kevin Nolan, it's rather been a chastening experience, because Notts County, who are leading 4-1 at half-time, added a further 4 goals in the second half. A good volley by Norton 7 minutes into the second half. Further goals for Routledge, his 50th goal of his club career. A super effort by Carroll, curling into the top left-hand corner. And then the debutant, Daniel James, 8 minutes from time. Abraham chesting the ball to James, very little backlift, and a fine finish into the bottom right-hand corner. Chris Sutton, very accomplished performance, confident performance from Swansea City.
It was, and I think Carlos Carvajal be pleased to see some players. Tom Carroll, Tammy Abraham, Nathan Dyer looked really sharp tonight, and it's a game he didn't want, Carlos Carvajal, but they were too good. There's a golfing class feel for Notts County. They came into this game with a little bit of hope, but they were simply outclassed. They need to get this game out of the minds. Important game on Saturday, and get themselves up this season.
And Mark, this is Swansea City's best undefeated run since 2010. They're unbeaten now in 8 games. They're the lowest joint scorers with Huddersfield in the Premier League with 19, but they've bagged 8 tonight. They've filled their boots, and they'll be away to Sheffield Wednesday. So a return to Hillsborough for Carlos Carvalhal, who of course left after 2.5 years at Sheffield Wednesday on Christmas Eve. I'm sure he's looking forward to going back.
And Chris will want to know that Lincoln City have reached Wembley for the first time ever in the Checker Trade Trophy. They've won their penalty shootout in the semi-final against Chelsea under-21s 4-2 after it finished 1-1 after 90 minutes. Actually, you've had another goal, Conor McNamara, haven't you?
It's done and dusted now. It is a rapidly emptying St Andrews, because Tom Ince has just made it 4-1 to Huddersfield Town immediately after the restart for the second half of extra time, and Ince drills into the bottom corner. And unfortunately for Birmingham City, that's going to be that, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, it is. I'm afraid that's game over. Great goal from Tom. He's deserved that, he has, on the night. He's worked really hard.
Here come Birmingham down the other end. Oh, Luzzle fumbles a shot, and fortunately for him, it goes wide of the target. It hit his hands, went right through his fingertips, but goes out for a corner. It was Che Adams who scored the Birmingham goal tonight. He had the shot there, Luzzle, who had switched off. And even the die-hard supporters who would sit here in the freezing cold at 3-1 are beginning to make their way towards the exits now, the Birmingham fans, as Luzzle punches it clear. Gardner picks up for Birmingham. The impressive Cohen Bramall gets into a shooting position, but he doesn't have his shooting boots on, and it careers into the empty seats behind that goal.
Yeah, he just worked that onto his right foot there, Bramall. Not his strongest side, and he's just scooped that one over the bar. But the Tom Ince goal was a really well-worked goal. Throw-in midway in Birmingham's half for Huddersfield out on the left-hand side. They work a little 1-2, release Tom Ince. He cuts in on the angle and hits the shot from the edge of the box just inside the far post, giving Stockdale no chance. Really good strike. They've scored some good goals, Connor, tonight.
Tom Ince has looked fantastic tonight. I don't want to be unfair to him. Is there a case to say this is the level he stands out at, though, whereas the Premier League, it's more difficult to shine as he does?
I think Tom's still got a bit to do physically, to develop physically, but I've seen some really interesting elements to his game tonight. I've seen a more determined Tom Ince, certainly. He's been the catalyst for his team's turnaround. He really has. I think he's played as well as anybody. There's been some good performances, but none better than Tom Ince this evening. And I think actually that he's still got time to develop. Still only a young man, and it's all quite new to him, playing top class and top flight football. But he's been really good this evening.
That's the voice of Andy Townsend, former Chelsea and Aston Villa and Republic of Ireland midfielder. We're into the 109th minute at St Andrews, and a corner has been won by Huddersfield down the right hand side. Scannell, who's hardly featured at all this season, trudges across to collect the ball. A big Terence Congolo makes his way forward. He'd love his first goal for his new club, and as he makes his way to the penalty area, he gets the shout, or he thought he did. He said, oh no, I've got to go back, but no, they said go on, we're 4-1 up, you can stay up there. Ball placed for the corner on the far side. Ince is standing over it. Here it comes. Delivery is low, flicked away at the front post. Young Charlie Lacken tries to clear it. Scannell does well to win it back for Huddersfield, who are playing this now at their own tempo, at their own pace, and sometimes that's just a walking pace because they are so fully in control. Scannell rolls it back, and this is Chris Love, who used to play under Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund. You know, Mark Pugac touched on it during half-time and extra time. They've got to try and take something from this Huddersfield. They've scored a few goals tonight. You know, before tonight it was 1 goal in 4 matches. They've now scored 4 goals tonight. They've got to try and take some of that into the Premier League and Bournemouth at the weekend.
Yep. And I think an important message, a reminder as well for the manager, what his players are capable of if they're encouraged. You know, certainly I understand they've got to have a game plan, and for newly promoted teams into the Premier League it can be daunting, particularly when you're on a bad run. You're never quite sure which way to go. Do you adopt even more defensive tactics and work on that more, or do you think we've got to try and start to get forward and look like we've got a threat in our game? Well, I would suggest the latter is the way forward for David Wagner. He's got players that have got some pace, he's got some big guys, and I think they've got to be encouraged by this evening's performance, the way they've come back and the goals they've scored and the opportunities and chances they've created.
Rochdale are through tonight. They've beaten Millwall by 1-0. They will play the winner of tomorrow night's game, Tottenham or Newport, in the 5th round, as Love crosses from the left hand side for Huddersfield, and possession will be taken away by Harley Dean for Birmingham, and they're beginning to look a little bit tired down there, and that's to be understood with 110 minutes played in the match. Dacres Cogley's got fresh legs though, the youngster who came on in the second half, and he rolls it back to Mark Roberts. You think back in the game when he scored the own goal, and that might have changed things, had they been able to hold that 1-0 lead a bit longer.
Yeah, good point. I think maybe David Stockdale could have done a bit better with the initial strike from Tom Ince. He got his hands on it, he saved it, just knocked it up in the air, and unfortunately ended up in the back of the net.
Dacres Cogley, chance to come forward down the right hand side for Birmingham, weaves his way into the penalty area, goes around Congolo, who recovers very well actually, and then the cross goes point blank into the chest of Phil Billings and probably wins him, but he made the block, and Huddersfield come away with possession. And Van La Parra, who certainly got fresh legs, he was one of the latter substitutes, bears down on the Birmingham City penalty area. Huddersfield looking for a 5th now that would really put a gloss on this, and mightn't be all that fair to Birmingham really, who over the 90 minutes certainly didn't look like a team that was going to lose 5-1.
No, not at all. Very little in the game. After an hour it was finally balanced. In the end Huddersfield have upped it, stepped it up and found some quality and some courage when they've needed to. Never easy in a cup tie when you're expected to win and you go behind. For 5 minutes or so you can be rattled a little bit and you can find life really uncomfortable, but they kept playing, kept believing, and they found 4 good goals this evening.
The pace of the game has slowed right down. There's still several thousand Birmingham City fans in here. It is freezing, minus temperatures, it's late at night, they are 4-1 down, but they're not leaving till it's over. The football fans, absolutely magnificent. Scannell on the far side, controls on his instep. The defender near him is Bramall. Scannell tries to go around him, pushes Bramall, does he? Or was that just a natural coming together of the players? Referee says much ado about nothing, and he says that is a goal kick. Goal kick to Huddersfield, away to our left-hand side. Birmingham 1, Huddersfield Town 4.
big Midlands derby at the weekend now for Steve Cotterill to focus on. No shame in this result this evening from his players. They gave it a go. He made 7 changes. That's always interesting, and whether or not it's the right thing to do, it's what he decided to do on the night. Unfortunately, in the end, it's not quite paid off. We'll see whether or not that works for him at the weekend against the Villa team, a resurgent Villa team. A Villa team looking a lot stronger and a lot better and very dangerous now at the top end of the table.
For Birmingham, this will be only their second defeat in 9 games. Been a funny season, started with such optimism. Harry Redknapp was here. They smashed a bit of cash around the place and got off to a dreadful start. Steve Cotterill appointed in September. He certainly steadied the ship. He's got them playing again. They don't have Sam Gallagher tonight, the youngster on loan from Southampton, and I think they've missed him because he's given them the focal point up front. Yeah. So Congolo tries to get the ball, but he's beaten to it by Che Adams, and then Congolo fouls Adams, and it's a free kick to Birmingham midway inside the Huddersfield half. Birmingham, who it'll now be 10 times that they've played against a Premier League side at home here at St Andrews, and they haven't been able to beat any of them in the Cup. So Gardner stands over the free kick, plays it into the penalty area. Flag was raised even before the ball was headed away. Free kick out to Huddersfield. So a chance, while the game peters out here, to look at the Premier League table. Huddersfield second from bottom, but level on points with Swansea, who've won tonight in the FA Cup, and Swansea are out of the bottom 3. I mean, it's the ridiculous congested nature. One win could propel them up 4 or 5 places.
Yep. Nobody can rest easy at all at the moment in the bottom half of the Premier League. Everybody's looking for momentum. We've seen recently Roy Hodgson's Palace and David Moyes' West Ham. They've got it, and then all of a sudden results don't go quite so well for them, and then looking over their shoulder once more. That's the nature of the beast. What you don't do is beat yourself up too much. If you get beat, you've got to pick yourselves up and believe you can turn it round. Those that do that often win those so important back-to-back matches, which sees you move up the table a little bit. It can happen to anybody.
What a story for Swansea, who, let's face it, they look the most dead and buried of any club down there, and Carlos Carvajal has turned around. They've won 8-1 tonight. I mean, when they type out the score, they'll have to go EIGHT. Here's a shot from Ince outside of his left boot, but it careered away off target. He put a spin on the shot. He was intending to do that, but it just spun away from the target.
Didn't quite catch it as he would have liked to there, Tom Ince, but hit it first time, got the confidence to let it settle and catch it on the half volley. It just fading away from Stockdale's right hand post, but just didn't quite catch it flush. But you're right, we've seen managers come in, some have had an impact, some haven't had quite the uplift required. Alan Pardew in at West Brom has found it difficult, but again, even though they're 4 points I think adrift at the moment, they'll still believe that they've got the quality and the know-how, the belief to turn it round.
They've played 115 minutes at St Andrews, 4-1-2 Huddersfield. Just a reminder of some of the other football away from the FA Cup tonight. Motherwell beat St Johnstone by 2-0 in the Scottish Premiership, and Rangers beat Partick Thistle by that same scoreline in League 1. Bury were 2-1 winners against AFC Wimbledon. In League 2, Accrington Stanley also 2-1 winners against Swindon Town tonight. Tonight, it's been an evening in which Birmingham really gave it their all for 90 minutes, but collapsed here in extra time. Adams had put Birmingham in front during the regulation 90. An own goal by Mark Roberts, 1-1. But then Mounier in the 94th minute, Van La Parra in the 97th minute. Ince added another one to take the jeopardy out of the game somewhat. And they're just going through the motions now towards the final whistle. But Huddersfield can hope that this can resurrect some of their fortune. They'll have the buzz of Manchester United coming to the John Smith Stadium. Of course, they beat United earlier on in the season. That was the game when Lindelof made the howling mistake.
Yeah.
And maybe a chance for some revenge from the defeat on the weekend just passed as well. But for Jose Mourinho's Manchester United, it's a short trip to Huddersfield for the 5th round. Seconds playing out here, and Huddersfield 4-1 in front against Birmingham City. Aaron Moy is in possession, the Australian. Rolls it over to Jorgensen, up and over the halfway line. Attempted trick by Scannell, who's fouled as he does so. And a few more hardy Birmingham souls make their way towards the exits in this rapidly emptying stadium. Free kick to Huddersfield far side of the pitch from us. By the way, just a reminder, the FA People's Cup 2018, the sign-up is open. It's the biggest five-a-side competition in the UK. 18 categories. It's open to male and female, all ages, all abilities. If you want to get involved, and I played it last year, it's really good fun. bbc.co.uk/get inspired if you want to get involved in that. Here comes Chris Lova for Huddersfield, just outside the penalty area, left-hand side. Van La Parra will turn and roll it back to the halfway line. And it's just become a knockabout now as Huddersfield go through the motions anytime.
Yeah, they are. They're keeping the ball, and it's tough for the Birmingham lads right now. Chasing after it aimlessly, knowing that there's no way back into this game.
They had a Chennai just well to keep the ball in play in the byline, hacks in across. I was looking forward, Daddy, if it had gone to penalty, so I was looking forward to commentating on a penalty shootout with a man who was involved in one of the seminal moments of my youth in Italia 90.
Yeah.
I would have got a few stories from you out of that if I could have. I'll never forget one of the best exhalations of relief, just a sigh of relief when you saw it hit the back of the net. I remember that.
It's very true. Very true. They're not easy. I've been involved in a few actually in international level, in the UEFA, in cup matches. I think the most important thing you do in a penalty shootout, don't change your mind. You know, have something definite in place and stick to it. Sometimes some players put the ball on the spot and they look up and see the goalkeeper and think, oh, they changed their mind. That's never the right recipe. It's a recipe for disaster, that one.
Minute to go here. 5 Live from the BBC. Birmingham City's FA Cup run coming to an end, and this fourth round replay. Tomorrow, Tottenham against Newport is our commentary. We'll be at Wembley. I'll be there with John Hartson tomorrow night for commentary on 5 Live. And they'll be playing to see who goes through to face Rochdale, who, having made sure their pitch wasn't good enough, Nick, to hold the game, host the game tonight, beat Millwall by a goal to nil. That's Rochdale of League One beating Championship Millwall. 33 league places between them, and Rochdale are into a money-spinning fifth round where they could be getting Tottenham or indeed Newport, should Newport pull off a famous victory at Wembley tomorrow. Huddersfield just holding possession around the halfway line and looking forward to reflecting on a victory here where they've had to dig in their heels, they've had to ride their luck at times, but they've remained sturdy enough to shrug off Birmingham City tonight. There's the final whistle from the referee Paul Tierney. It stumbled over the line in the end, but there was a good cup tie at one stage. That second half of normal time was really pulsating. Che Adams scored for Birmingham, but the own goal from Roberts, then Mounier, Van La Parra and Ince all in extra time. Birmingham City 1, Huddersfield Town 4.
Andy, that'll be good for Huddersfield, as we've been saying. Manchester United in the next round for them as well. But for Birmingham, well, you know what it's all about. Aston Villa and Birmingham, that'll be some game this weekend.
It will, Mark. I mean, I think that the selection tonight from Steve Cottrell suggested that game very much at the forefront of his thinking. He would have loved to have obviously won this one tonight and had Manchester United here, but their main thought process this season, Birmingham City, is to stay in the Championship. They've shown good signs recently that they can stitch some wins together. They've got a massive one against Villa. It does so much for your confidence if you can win that sort of game. We'll see how they fare. Villa go in as big favourites. Who knows in a derby?
Andy, we'll come back to you in a second. Let me just quickly run through the results then. In League 1, Bury 2, Wimbledon 1. League 2, Accrington 2, Swindon 1. EFL Trophy, Lincoln 1, Chelsea Academy 1. Lincoln win on penalties. They're through to the Wembley final. And Yeovil 3, Fleetwood 2. Yeovil into the semis to play Shrewsbury. Scottish Premiership, Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0. Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 2. Scottish Championship, Falkirk 3, Brechin 1. Scottish League 1, Raith Rovers 3, Albion Rovers 1. So Birmingham 1, Huddersfield 4 we've heard about in the FA Cup fourth round replays. Rochdale 1, Millwall 0 we'll talk about in a second. And Swansea 8, Notts County 1. 2 for Nathan Dyer. He's been talking to Reshman Chowdhury.
Congratulations, Nathan. That was Swansea's biggest ever FA Cup victory. How does it feel to have been involved in that?
Yeah, it was great. I think the manager said from the start that we wanted to go out and start quick. Especially as a draw in the first leg. So, that's what he wanted us to do, and we managed to do that today.
6 different players on the score sheet, 2 goals for you tonight. What does that tell you about the ability of this team, the confidence running through this team, and how much you are really a collective unit?
Yeah, I think we've shown that people can get on the score sheet from all over the pitch. We've been working hard on the training ground with not just the strikers and the attacking players getting forwards, and today you wanted everyone to press forward when we attacked, and the scoreline was nice, but overall we put in a good performance today.
Sheffield Wednesday next, you're up for it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Boss is our whole stomping ground, so we definitely want to go there and make an impression.
Andy, they're giving themselves a chance, Swansea. We were talking about how Huddersfield might pick up some confidence by winning in the Cup, and Swansea are doing well in the league, and they get 8 in the Cup tonight. And Tammy Abraham gets a couple as well, which is going to be absolutely critical.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, I've watched them a fair bit lately, Mark, Swansea, and certainly Carlos Carvalhal has had that. He's had that uplift that you so desperately need when you're in trouble, and you make that sort of change. They've had some big performances and big wins against Liverpool and Arsenal, which do wonders for their confidence and belief. And that tonight is just a reminder I think to themselves more than anything, of what they're capable of with their finishing and their forward play in the top third of the field. Racking up that many goals doesn't do them any harm at all, and I think they're looking like a team now that have some momentum, that have some belief and can stitch some victories together, and if they do that, they'll continue to climb.
Big win for Rochdale tonight of League One, through to the 5th round. They've beaten Championship side Millwall by 1-0. The Rochdale manager Keith Hill has been speaking to Vicky Sparks.
Keith, you must be absolutely delighted. Through to the 5th round for only the 3rd time in the club's history.
Yeah, delighted. I thought we'd missed our chance narrowly when we played down at the New Den, but we got a great victory obviously at the weekend against Northampton away, and we backed it up tonight with another good performance, and the match winner from Ian Henderson sees us through to the 5th round, and it's a special opportunity for me as well, because it's something I've not done as a manager, so really looking forward to the 5th round.
The club worked very hard to get the game on. There was a lot of talk about the pitch beforehand. How do you feel it affected the match?
I don't think it did. I think the volunteers have done a tremendous amount of work, to make sure that the game went ahead, and I think the players respected that and put in a performance on behalf of those volunteers.
And obviously it could be Spurs, it could be Newport. Rochdale have never played Tottenham. Are you hoping there won't be an upset on Wednesday?
No, not particularly. I said to the lads, listen, whichever way the tie goes, we just got to take care of business, and whether it's Newport or whether it's Tottenham, it doesn't really matter. We've got to deal with the league form, the league opponents, but listen, your heart's saying Tottenham, your head's saying Newport. No disrespect to Newport, but we've probably got more of a chance of beating Newport. So, and then all of a sudden, is it the quarterfinals? And then I want Coventry, and then hopefully get into the semi-final. So these are the dreams that you dream of. As a manager, it's not just about your heart, it's about your head as well, and you want to go as far as you possibly can.
But your heart did say that playing Tottenham would be a carrot that a blind donkey wouldn't be able to miss, was it?
Yes, you're correct. I've been reminded of that a few times this weekend by my friends. But Tottenham, I just love the way Tottenham play, and as a manager, you want to play against the best opposition you possibly can to learn. And it would be a special day for the football club to play against Tottenham, but I will not devalue the opportunity to play against Newport either. So either or, it doesn't matter, we're in the next round.
Keith, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was a great interview, Vicky Sparks. That's Keith Hill, who's thrilled, but his counterpart Neil Harris, the Millwall manager, involved in a little bit of an altercation afterwards.
Yes, there was a pitch invasion at full time from the Rochdale fans, which the announcer had asked the fans not to come onto the pitch, but a good number of them did. It all went off fairly quietly, and the fans made their way away from the pitch. But as the fans leave the stadium, they walk past the dugouts, and Neil Harris, the Millwall manager, got into a very heated discussion with some of the Rochdale fans. There was a member of his coaching staff who was with him that had an arm round him. I wouldn't say was holding him back, that's too strong, but was trying to usher him away. And it looked from where I was standing as though some strong words were exchanged. Now, I spoke to Neil Harris after the game about that. He did say he felt the Rochdale fans at the end were disgraceful. He felt that there were comments aimed at himself and his coaching staff and his players, and he didn't like the fact that they were able to get so close to them, because the fans walk literally past the dugout, so there's not too many places places that his players can go as they're walking off down the tunnel. Obviously hugely frustrated that they've been upset as well in the FA Cup tonight by a team 33 places below them. I asked him specifically what the nature of the comments were that were exchanged, and he simply said that it was football banter. I'm not sure it would necessarily fall into that category, but clearly frustrated. He did go on to congratulate Rochdale for going through. He said he felt on balance they deserved it over the two ties, so he was magnanimous in defeat, but clearly not happy with some of the comments that were aimed at his staff and his players by some of the Rochdale fans afterwards, and as I say, got into this very heated discussion with one particular fan. So a slightly unsavoury ending to that, but disappointing obviously on the pitch for Millwall as well, going out of the FA Cup to Rochdale this evening.
Vicky, let's assume if Tottenham do win tomorrow night, it's not the greatest leap of faith that anyone's going to make, because Newport may well upset them, but if Tottenham do win tomorrow night, we saw how Tottenham struggled at Newport in the original game. So Tottenham at Spotland, that'll test them out, won't it?
Yeah, so Liz, you heard Keith Hill saying that he didn't think the pitch had any impact. I have to say, it did cut up and it was heavy, but it certainly wasn't hoofball from Rochdale tonight. They got the ball down, they passed it, they played it. It is obviously much more difficult. If for anyone who hasn't seen the pictures, it was basically the one strip along one half of the pitch from goal to goal was yellow and brown and sand, because they've had to implement this drill and fill technique to get the game on at all tonight, and the other half was grass with just little patches of grass on the sandy bit. So I think Tottenham, certainly it won't be what they're used to playing on. It certainly wouldn't be ideal, but Rochdale did manage to get the ball down and move it around, and I think they cope with the conditions better, and Tottenham will, if it is them, will have to find a way to do that.
Absolutely, if it is them. We'll find out tomorrow night, because the Tottenham Newport replay is here on 5 Live tomorrow night, the final replay. Huddersfield are going to be home to Manchester United in round 5. Carlos Carvajal back to Hillsborough with his Swansea team to play his former club Sheffield Wednesday, and Rochdale playing the winner of the replay between Tottenham and Newport County. Andy, listen, it's going to be fabulous for Newport to play at Wembley tomorrow night, come what may.
Yep.
I'm trying desperately to pose a question to you which asks whether Newport have got any chance at all. But listen, we saw in the first game exactly what they could do, Newport.
We did indeed,
What
Mark.
do they do tomorrow night? How do they go about it, Andy?
Enjoy it. Go for it, Mark. That's all they can do. There's no point in going there, I don't think, with major game plans. They want to go there and try and impress themselves on the occasion, on the Tottenham team, and just play with some freedom and really relish the occasion and enjoy it. Don't play with fear. If you start worrying about Harry Kane and everybody else and what they're capable of and what they can do, then you're not going to sleep tonight, and you're not going to perform when you turn up tomorrow. But I just hope they go there and they want to show them exactly what they can do. If they do that, they'll love it.
Lovely. Kevin Nolan has really kindly taken the time to join us after Notts County went out tonight at Swansea by 8-1. Kevin, really good of you to speak to us. I confess, Kevin, I'm paid to ask you questions. I'm not entirely sure what to ask you after that. What you tell me what you think, Kevin.
Oh, look, I just thought Swansea were absolutely clinical within the finishing. They just showed the Premier League class today, and my boys, when you're open and you've got that gap between you, you're hoping that a few of their players don't turn up. They sort of they're not as professional as what they normally are, because they think it's going to be an easier night, and you want your lads to be on top form, really, and they've got to be on top form if you're going to have an opportunity of an upset. But I think too many of my lads weren't at it tonight, and I thought they were absolutely fantastic, and I just thought they were really clinical with the finishing and the goals.
So you say to your boys, dude, that's what you need to aspire to, that sort of level that they showed tonight, Swansea City?
Yeah, I just thought that we showed them a bit too much respect. I thought we let them settle into the game so easily, and then they were able to, mount attack after attack. We didn't really play to our strengths, didn't really follow the game plan, if you like. But listen, I'm really proud of what the lads have done, and they've been absolutely fantastic. So for them, I just said that's what happens when you play a top quality side and we don't perform like we did 10 days ago at the Lane, and that was probably our chance really if we were going to get through the tie, because we in the second half we played really well and done all the right things, and was unlucky not to to try and nick it.
And you learn probably about yourself now, don't you, Kevin, and the art of managing, how to deal with this and to how long to leave the team to brood and how soon you need to pick them up again because you've got so much to play for at the top end of League Two.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. I've just said we can all be disappointed with what's gone on today, but at the end of the day, it's a really big learning curve for us, learning lesson for us all. I said, if I could have helped you any more, I would have. I would have tried to help you if I could have got on the pitch or done anything I possibly could. I was wanting to be out there with them because it's not nice, and I've been in them situations. But I said the only thing what you can do now is I just look forward to Saturday and put it all right on Saturday. That's your next game. It's the next one. It's a big one. So yeah, I mean that's what we've got to do.
Great, as ever, Kevin. Thank you. Lovely to talk to you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Rest of the season. Thank you very much indeed, Kevin Nolan. What about Carlos Carvajal? 8-1 then in his team's favour. Here's the Swansea boss with Andy Gillies.
Carlos, nothing like a big win to put a manager in a good mood. What a remarkable evening for you.
I'm very happy, I must tell you. Very happy. I'm very proud about my players. I put a challenge to my players. I said to them that it's very easy to motivate the players to play against Arsenal, Tottenham, and these big teams that to play in the few weeks. It's very hard to motivate the players to a game against a team from the League Two. But I said to them, we see the men, we see the personalities, you see the good teams in these kind of games. It's in these kind of games that I want to see how much you are ambitious, how much you want to win, how much you show that really we are strong. And they accept the challenge in 100%.
How will you feel going back to Sheffield Wednesday now?
I can't speak now. I feel that I will be back home, I must tell you, because I lived there 2 years and a half, absolutely fantastic. I have a stamp there, a brand very strong in that club, and I feel whole. I'm a whole forever, I must tell you. The same way that I'm sure that I will say that I will a Jack one day that I leave. I will be a Jack forever also.
He's in very good form, not surprising after winning 8-1. Max says, I know a lot of people are praising him now for what he's doing at Swansea, but the man left a mess at Sheffield Wednesday and facing the drop. No love lost there. Matthew says, 8 goals tonight for Swansea, 19 all season in the Premier League. Andy, have you ever known the bottom half of the Premier League to be what it's like now, where you've got a team who are 11th on 27 points, and Huddersfield, who've had a good win tonight, second bottom on 24 points?
No, I've not seen the Premier League in this sort of shape before, Mark, and it's going to make for a fascinating finish, and I do believe that the teams that are brave and that are positive and the teams that want to create chances and score goals, they're the teams that are going to get out of it. I really believe that. I think for teams to try and plot their way through this league this season and to try and pinch a point and stay in games and only think about maybe trying to keep clean sheets, I think they're the ones that will suffer. I really do. I think that there's so many teams involved. I think it's the opportunity for is there for you to be really positive, get out there and try and create chances and try and win games. Those that do that, I think, can stitch some results together and climb up that table and eventually have the prospect of playing Premier League football again next year.
Andy, just very briefly, one on Lincoln. First time in their 133-year history, they're at a Checkatrade final. You've won at Wembley. You know what that's like. What an achievement from the Danny Cowley.
Brilliant. Danny Cowley and his players, well done. Congratulations and enjoy the occasion. It's what it's all about. Winning is wonderful.
Brilliant, Andy. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you to Andy Townsend, Chris Sutton, to Ian Dennis, Conor McNamara, Vicky Sparks, and to you. And here's Phil Williams up next.
Thank you very much, Mark. Tonight we have the world's most powerful rocket, Elon Musk's Falcon Heavy, which has successfully lifted off from Cape Canaveral in Florida. So we'll try and reach a reporter who's there for you. And we'll talk about how you tackle online abuse. This raised today by the Prime Minister on the 100th anniversary of some women getting the vote. She says that it's poisoning the democratic process. And we'll hear from the first lawyer to have successfully served a harassment injunction on an online abuser.
First for news and the best live sport. This is BBC 5 Live.
Good evening, 10:30 on Tuesday night. You're with Phil Williams here on 5 Live. This is the late news hour.
The main news on 5 Live: charges for a man who alleged he was a victim of a VIP paedophile ring.
And in sport, Huddersfield, Swansea and Rochdale all reached the 5th round of the FA Cup.
This is BBC 5 Live.
Let's start you with the latest BBC News on 5 Live. Joe Hornby.
A man who alleged he was the victim of a child abuse ring involving high-profile individuals has been charged with multiple offences relating to the possession of indecent images of children. The claims of Nick, not his real name, triggered Operation Midland, which was closed in 2015 with no action taken. The former chairman of the construction giant Carillion has told MPs he is to blame for its collapse. A committee has accused the firm's executives of being asleep at the wheel after it folded due to huge debts. A man's been jailed for at least 26 years for stabbing his ex-girlfriend 75 times while she sat in her car. Molly McLaren, who was 23, died in the attack in Kent last June. The judge told Joshua Stimpson he may never be released. And the American entrepreneur Elon Musk has successfully launched the world's most powerful rocket from Florida's Kennedy Space Center. The Falcon Heavy can carry twice as much payload as any other existing shuttle. Joe Curry has your sport.
Huddersfield Town have set up an FA Cup fifth round tie against Manchester United after a 4-1 win against Birmingham. The Premier League club won their replay in extra time. Swansea, they've also cruised into the next round. That's after thrashing Notts County 8-1. That's their biggest ever win in the FA Cup. Next up, they'll face Sheffield Wednesday. Whilst League One strugglers Rochdale beat Millwall 1-0, and they'll now take on the winner of Newport versus Tottenham. In the Scottish Premiership, Rangers won 2-0 at Partick Thistle, whilst Motherwell beat St Johnstone by the same scoreline. Former Manchester United fullback Patrice Evra is on the brink of signing for West Ham. The 36-year-old has been out of football since his contract was cancelled by Marseille. That's after he kicked a fan before a match in November. And Northamptonshire batsman Ben Duckett will miss the start of the domestic cricket season. That's after surgery on a persistent finger problem.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
The weather, cold tonight with a few wintry showers, mainly fine but cold tomorrow. Sleet in the northwest later, lows of -6 degrees.
Big Tuesday night interview for you tonight in an hour's time is with a former CIA intelligence analyst, Karen Cleveland, who's left the CIA and her desk at Langley to become a thriller writer. Her debut is called Need to Know. It's really, really fantastic and pacey, and it's been signed by Charlize Theron, who's going to produce it and star in it. It's about a woman who discovers her husband is working as a Russian spy when she works as a CIA analyst. So you'll hear from Karen in an hour's time about her job at the CIA, converting to being a writer, and the success of writing your first published book and having Charlize Theron sign it up for a Hollywood movie. That's all at 11:30.
Pure drama on BBC Two.
Why would anyone kill a pizza delivery man?
A new 4-part thriller from the internationally acclaimed playwright David Hare.
If you think you can blackmail us by withholding information, you're wrong.
Starring Kerry Mulligan, John Sim and Billy Piper.
What business is it of yours?
Because I'm in the shadow cabinet, that's why!
Murder, deceit and the real cost of human lives.
He had papers. He knew who the smugglers were. I'll send a man to his death.
Collateral.
It comes down to people. You have to trust me.
Monday night at 9 on BBC Two.
The Late News Hour
with Phil Williams on 5 Live.
10:34 Tuesday night, a sports car has been blasted into space on the world's most powerful rocket, with David Bowie's Life on Mars blaring out. From the same launch pad where NASA launched rockets that carried astronauts to the moon, entrepreneur Elon Musk launched the Falcon Heavy, carrying one of his old sports cars to minimise the risk to the failure rate of maiden flights. The launch was greeted by cheers from spectators.
10, 9, 8.
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
Similar volume of cheers greeted by those watching when the rocket separated successfully from its reusable boosters, which have since landed.
And that landing burn has started.
Both boosters looking to be on track towards their respective landing zones.
Landing legs have started. Side boosters landing legs have deployed.
And the Falcons have landed.
Now, Tim Peake has tweeted, simply awesome. Congratulations to SpaceX on a phenomenal technical achievement. Feels like the dawn of a new era of space exploration. We have got a journalist lined up to speak to you about this launch tonight, conducted by Elon Musk. But they've just gone into a new news conference. So hopefully there'll be more information when we do get to speak to Jason Davis, who's the digital editor for the Planetary Society, and he watched that launch as well from SpaceX. So we'll, as soon as Jason comes out of that news conference, then we'll get the latest on that and the latest information that he's been given and bring that to you hopefully in the next hour or so. Back here, commemorating 100 years since women first received the vote, the Prime Minister Theresa May said online abuse is preventing more women from engaging in political debate.
This is across the political spectrum. In my party, Esther McVeigh has particularly suffered from this, but Luciana Berger on the Labour benches has suffered from this. I think we need to just step back and say that sadly this will lead, I think is leading, to some women feeling that they don't want to put their head above the parapet, they don't want to take part in public life.
Her comments come on the same day that businesswoman and model Katie Price told the House of Commons Select Committee of the abuse that her son Harvey had received online.
If in life, all these things that are said online, if that was said like now to a person different when it's online written down, I think people don't treat it as serious.
Well, tonight we can speak to Yaya Cohen, a lawyer who specialises in social media and the first lawyer to successfully serve a harassment injunction on an online abuser. And alongside Yaya is Michelle Donnellan, who's Conservative MP for Chippenham. Michelle, I'll start with you, especially given the 100-year anniversary that Theresa May was speaking about when she made these comments. And what's your experience of online abuse?
Good evening. Yes, quite a historic landmark that today, and in fact that the year, is celebrating. In terms of online abuse, I, like every MP, has suffered it. You turn on your phone in the morning, you look on Twitter, and it's become almost the norm, which I think is very unacceptable. And it's unacceptable that we're living in a world where you expect it. But it isn't just females, and I must make that point. It is also experienced by my male colleagues. They equally have death threats and pressures on their families and these kind of attacks on them personally as well. So I think that this has the potential to deter all walks of life from entering politics, which is very sad.
And so the stuff that you're getting, is it less about your ideology and does it become more about you personally?
So it's complete and utter mixture. It can be about you personally, the colour of your skin, your sexuality, your views on certain things, the way you looked in a certain picture, the views of your party, a lot of fake news as well. So there can be a whole host of things. From when you actually make a vote, people can attack you for that, or from when you haven't even made a vote. So really, it's a mixture. I know some colleagues have had really personal, awful attacks on them that have been sustained over a long period of time. That must be very tiring for them and their families, especially when they get into the realm of death threats.
Yaya Cohen, welcome to the programme, lawyer who specialises in social media and the first lawyer to successfully serve a harassment injunction on an online abuser. How do you go about doing that? Because quite a lot of people who suffer abuse online say that they contact the social media provider and there's very little response.
Hi, good evening. Yes, the social media companies, they traditionally like to be treated as autonomies or as little republics. They want to create their own laws, their own rules. They want to be able to police social media, decide what content to remove, what content leave there. They don't want to have any outside intervention. And the result of this is a power vacuum. So we have a situation where social media companies deliberately do not moderate content, do not filter any users on the website, but at the same time they don't allow traditional law enforcement agencies to go in. And that causes a lot of frustration to victims, because if you are a victim of abuse offline, you will go to the police. Police will identify the perpetrator, and they will knock on some doors. But if the same abuse and occasionally a much more serious abuse and harassment is happening on social media, the victim has got absolutely nowhere to go because the police feels that this is a no-go zone for them, and social media companies deliberately have not expended sufficient resources in order to police their own cyberspace.
Can I ask you why you say deliberately?
Because I just came back from a conference in California. It was a tech leader conference to do with content moderation. The lawyers from Google, Facebook, and all the rest. And when you listen to what I have to say in terms of content moderation, their excuse is, look, this is free speech, and it is not for us to moderate content. And traditionally, they have deliberately, and I was told that very specifically, deliberately did not allocate resources to moderating content because they felt that this is something they shouldn't be doing. Now, with the pressure coming from Europe, we can see, for example, that Facebook and Google have both doubled the human resources only in the past year that they are allocating to content moderation, and that was also a deliberate reaction to the pressure that is coming from governments in Europe. So whether they moderate the internet or whether they don't moderate the internet, it is a matter of conscious decision.
Michelle, we've had a text whilst we've been talking to you from Charlie, who says the surest and easiest way to deal with online social media abuse and bullying is simply not to take part. Don't sign up to it. Delete your account. Rejoin the real world. Speak to and meet real friends face to face. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how nice and satisfying it can be.
Well, I think social media does have a lot of good, and especially for politicians to be more accessible. I try every week to be as accessible as I possibly can to my constituents, and through social media I can reach a whole group of people that wouldn't have been engaged in the process before. So I think that's a really positive tool that we shouldn't just put down because some people are misusing it. In fact, what I think we should be doing is getting out there and saying, like the Prime Minister did today, this is not acceptable behaviour. And when I look at some of the people that have trolled me or that have made these comments, they're respectable people. They're teachers. They're people that work in the local shop. They're part of the local community. So it's getting that message out there that this is not acceptable.
So they're not hiding behind anonymity with you, Michelle?
Some are and some don't. They change their name, but they might say what their job role is. But I think that's why the social media code of practice that was announced today is very important. And so is the Internet Safety Transparency Report to actually name and shame some of the companies as to what they are doing and what they're not doing, because we do need some kind of change in this sector.
I know you're relatively new in as an MP, aren't you? But if you were doing your job, say, 30 years ago, would you not just have had the same abuse, but it was a letter? And I don't
think so, no, because these are, as people call them, the keyboard warriors, aren't they? People feel a lot more confident saying things behind a computer screen than they do to your face. So it gives them a sense of confidence that you can't get from writing a letter or from seeing somebody up close. So I do think that it has got to a situation where we need to deal with it now, and not just for people in the public eye, for all walks of life. On the Education Select Committee, we're doing a joint inquiry with Health, and we're looking at children's mental health. And some of the school children that we were talking to last week said that social media and bullying is a key concern that is leading to their mental health. So this isn't just about people in the public eye, it's all of society, and we need to do something now.
Yaya, can I ask you, was there a threshold that you had to prove in order to serve your harassment injunction?
The difficulty with any injunction, particularly harassment injunction, is that if you breach that injunction, if the injunction is directed at you and you don't follow the injunction, you breach it, you could be risking going to jail. So traditionally, the courts have been very particular with the way that they allow you to serve an injunction on its subject. Now, the difficulty that we've had in that case and in other cases was that the perpetrators were anonymous, and it would take us a considerable amount of time to try and unravel their identity. So we had to convince the court that we've had the technical ability and the know-how of serving an injunction via social media platforms. In the first case we did was Instagram, and you can only post images on Instagram which are of a particular resolution. So from a technical point of view, we had to convince the court that we were able to do it, but also we had to show to the court that it was highly likely that those individuals were deliberately targeting the victim.
Michelle, how do you think that we will prevent this long term from poisoning the democratic process, or as Theresa May hinted at today, possibly putting off other men and women from entering politics?
Yeah, well, I think we do need to send that message out that it's not acceptable, and I think today we started on the right path. I think we all need to get that message out there. And then, of course, there are some practical elements that we're introducing, including a law commission review which will actually review whether what is currently illegal offline is also illegal online to get that parity. Then there's the Internet Safety Transparency Report that was announced and the Code of Practice. So all of these will make an impact. But I personally think the biggest way that we can change this is about changing the mentality, because at the moment people view it as something that is normal to do, something that's acceptable to do, and something that is part of their daily life. And I think it's about changing that and saying to people, actually, these are real people that you're messaging here and you're sending these messages to. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean that you're not being offensive directly to another human being. And just think, would you say that to their face? And potentially we should be teaching that in our schools as well. And
do the current laws, and I'd be interested to see what our lawyer thinks in a moment, but I'll ask you this first, Michelle, as an MP. Do our current laws provide enough room for this to be adhered to, or do we need new legislation which deals specifically with online?
Well, I think that's the whole purpose of the Law Commission review, to examine that. I'm not a lawyer, but so I don't know the nuts and crannies of all of the law. So I do think that it is important that we do a review of of this entire spectrum to make sure that we've got all of the holes filled, as it were. But like I go back to, I think more than the law, what we really need to be doing is setting the tone and making sure that people don't choose to do this in the first place.
Yeah, what about you?
My view is that we have sufficient laws now to deal with harassment and intimidation via social media. What we need is enforcement. We need to really make a decision here we need to ask ourselves who is in charge. Who is in charge of enforcing the laws within the social media websites? Some of those websites, take Pinterest, for example. They have 2 million users, and they have allocated 11 and a half employees to moderate content. Now, you cannot seriously expect 11 and a half employees to moderate content of 200 million users. I think that what we need to do is to allow the law enforcement agencies a way to get in and put a little bit more pressure on social media companies and be able to obtain the information that they need fairly quickly.
But I mean, we've seen in other cases, haven't we, with, say, Apple in the States, where law enforcement have wanted to access iPhones, that there's a lot of suspicion from tech companies towards law enforcement.
Yes, in the United States, they can get away with it, but what I know that social media companies are really worried about, and Michelle, I would like to welcome every bit of pressure that our parliament is placing on social media companies. They are extremely worried about European interventionists. They're really worried about the pressures they're getting from Europe, and that is causing them to do much more than they've done ever before in order to protect their own users.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment that they are doing more than they ever have done before, but I would question I still go back to it's not enough. So we need them to do more, and I think by naming and shaming them and having this transparency report, we can see who is pulling their weight and who's not.
Michelle, on the 100th anniversary of some women, we should stress it's some because it took as long as a decade for all women then after that, didn't it, to get the vote. But on that, the number that stuck out to me today is 489, and it's the number of women MPs at the moment, and it's not enough to fill the chamber. And I just wondered what your feelings are about that.
So I've never really been too concerned with having 50% women and 50% men. What I want to see is have the best people for the jobs in there, the people that have been elected with confidence of their constituents, have the right skill set, are capable and competent. Now, if they are women, if they are men, if they are gay, or if they're straight, if they're black, if they're white, I don't care. I just want the best people for the job. I think most people would want that. They want people that are from all walks of background and a melting pot of society that are the best people. But what I do want, though, is I want us to encourage and inspire all walks of life to get into Parliament. So I think that door should be open to everyone, from whether you've been brought up in the north of England from an impoverished family or from the south of England from a very wealthy family. It shouldn't make a difference. It should be just as accessible. So I want to see Parliament more accessible for people to get into, and that includes for women. But I don't want to have a fixed target that we need to reach. I'm not really concerned with us having an equal amount as we do in society. And in fact, I think more to the point is making sure that Parliament is balanced from previous occupations, from financial backgrounds, etc., because these things do make you into the type of politician you can be to represent your constituents.
That's interesting. So how would you judge success in this area in, say, 10 years, 15 years' time?
I think as you judge it from the stories that MPs tell you from how they got into politics, from the routes that every political party has to get into those, whether they are reaching out to all walks of life up and down the country, which I know the political parties have done a lot of work on, including the Conservative Party. Cameron's famous call, didn't he, to ordinary people, as they put it, to enter politics. That's about accessibility. And I hope that having more women in politics will actually be a self-fulfilling prophecy, because other women will see them on the TV or even maybe hear them on the radio tonight and think, golly, I could do that. And then they will put themselves forward. And that's how we should be inspiring children, adolescents, young adults and women to think about this as a real career opportunity. It is a wonderful job if you're a man or a woman. And I urge anybody that's considering it to find out more.
Thank you. And Yahya, to you finally, do you see more injunctions coming in this area before social media companies respond, or based on what you've heard at this conference today, do you think that they will take the upper hand?
I think that we are going to see more injunctions. We are going to see more people taking action in the civil courts against those social media companies. And I hope that we will see more pressure coming from our parliament. Just as much pressure as we can, we should put on these companies to be more focused on users rather than on content, because these companies, they care very much about content, about text, about pages of content. What we want them to care about is about the users, about the people behind the content, about the people who make money for them effectively.
Thank you both very much for discussing this with us tonight. Yahya Cohen, a lawyer who specialises in social media and the first to successfully obtain a harassment injunction against an online abuser, and Michelle Donnellan, who's the Conservative MP for Chippenham.
The Late News Hour with Phil Williams on 5 Live.
Just getting a few of Wednesday's front pages. The Eye says millions are to benefit from new workers' rights under plans to reform the gig economy. The Guardian says Tesco might be facing a £4 billion equal pay claim. And the Metro headline tomorrow, cruel, callous and cowardly. This after a stalker was sentenced to 26 years for murdering his ex-girlfriend. Coming up with us then on the programme tonight, after 11:30, you can hear from former CIA intelligence analyst turned author Karen Cleveland. Her spy thriller is called Need to Know. It's been signed up by Charlize Theron for a movie already. And you can hear from Karen at 11:30. And then at midnight, our midnight expert for you tonight is Gulshinder Johar, who's a senior dietitian. And so if you have a question about diet and nutrition that you'd like to put to Gulshinder, then you can book in right now if you know you're going to be awake after midnight. 08085 909 693, our phone number, 08085 909 693. You can text your question for Gulshinder Johar on diet and nutrition to 85058 or tweet it to @BBC 5 Live.
This is Phil Williams on BBC Radio 5 Live.
10:54, a former soldier who stopped in a bus lane on Christmas Day so that he could hand over some warm clothing to a homeless man, has been fined £70 by his local council for driving in a bus lane. Lee Williamson from Leicester said he'd stopped to give the man a blanket, hat, gloves, scarf and food. but later received the fine for entering the bus lane, despite the fact that on Christmas Day there are no buses in the bus lane. The council says their camera enforcement policy is an important safety measure after a cyclist died on that route in 2016. Lee talks you through what happens.
Basically, I just dropped my daughter off to work. She works on, she's left on London Road. As I drove past the train station, that's when I saw a homeless guy outside. So I just basically turned around and pulled into the bus stop and gave him some supplies I'll keep in the car anyway, because I've volunteered for a charity called Once We're Soldiers. So I've got hats, gloves, scarves, warm clothes, food, Christmas goodie bags and all stuff like that in the boot of the car anyway. So I thought, what better time to dish them out.
So how long do you reckon you were pulled up in this bus lane for?
I think maximum of 5 minutes.
Right. Just to drop off the warm clothing.
Drop off the warm clothing, had a quick chat with him, make sure he was all right and didn't need anything else, and then off I went and carried on with my day. Obviously,
the part that we just need to fill in there is you've since been fined, haven't you, for being in a bus lane?
Yeah.
Even though there were no buses on Christmas Day.
No.
We've had a statement from the city mayor, Peter Salisbury, who says that camera enforcement came into this part of this route that you were on in July of 2016 following a fatal accident involving a cyclist. And it's now in clear operation 365 days a year. The mayor says it's an important safety measure. While buses may not be operating on Christmas Day, there's every likelihood that cyclists and other traffic will be using this stretch of road, and stopping illegally in this area should still be considered dangerous. While we do recognise the good intentions in this instance, ample safe and legal parking was available within just a few metres of the bus clearway. What's your reaction to that? I mean, is that true, first of all, as far as you're concerned? Was there safe and legal parking a few metres away, or is it further than that?
If I've seen the safe and legal parking, I report into that, obviously. It wasn't the fact that, it was the fact that there was literally nothing. It was deserted. There's nobody around at all. So, I mean, if a cyclist couldn't have seen a parked car on the side of the road there, I mean, there must be, it's just ridiculous. It literally deserted. I mean, you can see from the CCTV images that there's not another soul around, So it can't be dangerous if the road's empty.
Well, the statement continues from the mayor. The driver now has the right to appeal the council's decision to an independent adjudicator. Will you do that?
I most definitely will, yes. Yeah, I'll take it as far as I possibly can.
And have you already had one appeal to get to this stage?
I've already had one appeal. When I originally got the thing come through, I appealed it straight away. And I honestly thought that would be the end of it once I realised what I was doing. And the fact that, no buses are running, no traffic's about, I'm helping somebody, I thought that'd be the end of it.
Presumably the CCTV backs that up, I mean, presumably they'll see you on camera. Was the kit in the boot of the car?
Yeah, they've watched the CCTV. They can see me taking the stuff out of the car, and they see me quite clearly giving it to a genuine homeless person, because, it's obviously a genuine homeless person as well, because nobody's been out there begging on a day when there's nobody else about,
What's your feeling on how the council are treating you at the moment?